Hey, it is the antisocial socialite back at it again. Shout out to all the wonderful new subscribers and returning friends. I don't see the thing jumping, so I don't know if it's on. Let me get my mobile because it looked like the audio is decided he doesn't want to connect, which is always really helpful. Let me jump on the YouTube ins. How's everybody's Saturday going? I hope you're doing well. Hello. 1 2 1 2. Okay, we've got an intro, which is a good start. We're experiencing some technical difficulties. Oh, it's been a hot minute, guys. How's everybody doing? I know I'm in this thing sporadically. I'm in this thing here and there. So what happened to me today? I was perusing the TikTok, the chicho, and this TikTok video that I'm familiar with the content, not so much, not familiar with so much with the content, but I've seen this lady online. She's a Muslim content creator, female content creator. TikTok just be randomly suggesting things to you. So I've clicked on her stuff before, so no problem. And I said, all right, let me just put whatever. I had to react to it because I've commented under her videos in the past, but I haven't really commented on anything. I haven't done a reaction video to it before, but I'm going to do one today because it's necessary. I feel it's necessary. And the way we're going to do this, we're going to look at the original TikTok, which is about 10 minutes long. Maybe I can speed it up. I don't know if I will. I want you to hear it. And as I was going through YouTube, somebody else that I enjoy watching has already commented on this video. So it's going to be interesting because I'm actually going to react to the reaction, because the reaction has said some of the things I want to pick up on. They've also got some other clips and points that I haven't prepared. So obviously they've done a bit of the work for me. And we just want to go through this. I know we had the other video that we were in the process of looking at, the reaction. We could go through that another day. And there's been so many debates, if you want to call them debates. I can't go through them all. I would love to, but my energy is just not there. So without further ado, let's get into the video by this lady called Aya. Her content, her channels are called Aya's Voice, and she has made a reaction or a video to what is called collectively as the Dawah Bros. Dawah in Islam is the practice of calling people to Islam. So it's like the equivalent of an evangelist. And there are different, obviously, techniques. And the other reason why I'm doing this video is because I want some company while I do the ironing. I'll be honest with you. I haven't picked up an iron in ages, but the summertime, it warrants it. Okay, when you've got all these light garments that are perfect for this hot ass weather, but your clothes are crushed to the bone, you're kind of forced to wear the heavier items which don't keep you so cool. So I said, all right, today I am going to I'm going to break out the iron, but I can't do it alone. So we will be on this ironing journey together. So if you hear some woof woof woof, that's the jets of the iron. There's a fan going, the windows are open, it's hot as hell in here, but we will get through this. Okay, so first thing I'm going to play is just Aya's video from TikTok, and then we will go over to YouTube. We will react to the reaction, because obviously they stop and start it, and I want to also stop and start as well. Let's get into it.
I'm having one of those days where I am really, really struggling to hold on to Islam. And the reason I'm going to share this is because this is who I make content for. I make content for the girls who are struggling to hold on to Islam, who feel pushed away from Islam by these misogynistic men and women who make the religion so hard for women, who want to push out anyone that thinks differently to them, that wants to weaponize the religion to harm us, to silence us, to stop us from speaking about our experiences. This is who I make content for. And do you know what? Sometimes I feel like a hypocrite, always telling you girls, separate what these people are doing. Don't let them convince you that this is Islam. This is not Islam. This is their version of it. Because it gets to a fucking point. Like, it gets to a fucking point of being so fucking dehumanized. I have been so dehumanized.
If you are somebody with sensitive ears, or the kids are listening, I always forget to mention this bit. But this channel is really not that much for kids. So by now, everybody who's a regular here is supposed to know that. And if you've ever seen Aya's content, then you will know that she doesn't hold back on the cursing. Sorry about that, guys.
Demonized by the Muslim community. They have stripped me of my humanity so that they can feel justified to do absolutely anything to me. The Muslim community, since September, less than a year, they have done the most horrendous fucking things to me. They have slandered me, they have bullied me, they have doxed me, they have broken into my fucking home, they have made me feel unsafe, they have told me to unalive myself, they have prayed and prayed that I get unalived, that I get raped, that my child gets harmed, that my child gets taken off me. They have mocked me, they have made AI corn of me, they have done the most disgusting, horrendous things, and they feel so fucking justified because they have stripped me of my humanity. They have taken my humanity away from me. All in the name of religion. And it really gets to a fucking point. Because yeah, I'm sat here feeling so fucking violated and dehumanized. And I'm like, do I really have to accept this? Because I share my beliefs that go against mainstream Islam. Because I share my experiences of how I have been traumatized and harmed by Sunnism. Because I debunk these misogynistic systems that push women away from Islam, and I tell women not to confuse the misogyny with Islam. Because I tell women that Islam is not misogynistic, to not let these people, these misogynistic shayukh and dawbers, push you away from Allah. Because I try to share my experience of how I held on to Islam with other women, helping them to hold on to their Islam. They feel justified in all of this. And wallahi, this is not about what they say about me. They've been calling me this shit for months and months and months. They've been calling me a kafira. They've been calling me a spy. They've been calling me just the most disgusting, degrading things you could possibly think of. And wallahi, I have not I have not cared because I know myself. It's this violating feeling, realizing they have actually dehumanized me, that they feel so justified. They see me as this object where they can just do and say whatever the fuck they want about Aya now for views on TikTok, and that's it. They don't give a fuck because I'm not a human to them. I'm not a person. They've stripped me of my humanity in the name of Islam. Like, and wallahi, I'm having one of those days where I'm like, this is what it is being a part of this community. If you don't follow what they tell you, you have to follow. Or if you don't follow it, you have to stay silent about it. You're not allowed to talk about it. You know, you don't... This is the thing that I find so funny with Sunnis. They can have an opinion on anyone and everyone. They can have an opinion on everything, but no one is allowed to have an opinion on them. They can disagree with everyone. They can call everyone kafira. They can call the Shias kafir. They can call the Quran is kafir. They can tell everyone's kafir. They can, you know, put down the women who show their hair or don't wear hijab or have... They can have opinions on anything. But the second a person has an opinion on them, it's not that they disagree with it. They punish them. They want to punish you for not having the same beliefs as them, or talking about your bad experience with them. This is not disagreement. Like, you can all disagree online. We can all have opinions, right? We can dislike people. We can even fucking hate people. But with them, it can never stop at a disagreement. They have to fucking punish you. They want to punish you and destroy your life. I know these people, their ultimate goal is to destroy my life. They want to destroy me. They want me to take my life. They want someone to take my life. They want me destroyed because they don't see me as a fucking human, because I'm not allowed to have an opinion that goes against them. And I'm having one of those moments where I'm having to really ground myself and remind myself this is not Islam. Because it's hard when this is coming from thousands and thousands of people claiming this is all Islam. It's really fucking hard to ground yourself sometimes and remind yourself this isn't Islam. This is not the Quran. These people are not representing Allah. I don't even like addressing these people. I'm not even talking to these people. I'm talking to the girls that follow me, the hundreds of girls that message me telling me that I'm helping them to hold on to Islam. This video is for you girls, to show you that look at what they've done to me, look at how far they've tried to push me and how much they've tried to destroy my life, and yet still I am not going to give in. Still I am not going to let these people strip my faith from me. I'm not going to let these people make me think this is Islam or this is Allah or this is the Quran. It's not. It's not. It's really fucking hard when your whole life is being destroyed because of this. But wallahi, this is where your faith has to be so fucking strong. Your faith has to be stronger than anything these people throw at you, anything these people say, anything these people make you feel or believe. Like, you have to hold on to your faith. You have to ground yourself, and it's so fucking hard. But if I can do this despite what they are doing to me, I'm telling you girls, you do not have to let these people win. You do not have to let these people take Islam from you. Your faith is the most precious thing you have in this world. Your faith in Allah, your faith in Islam is the most precious thing you have in this life. And if I can hold on despite what these people try to do to me, I'm telling you girls, you can hold on. You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to be harmed and be traumatized. And I'm not telling you to just suck it up. You shouldn't have to. Your life should not be destroyed because of a religion. You shouldn't have to go through this, and I'm sorry if you are. But even when they put you in this position and they push you to this point, you can't let these people win. You can't let these people really make you think that this is Islam or this is Allah. This is where you have to hold on to your faith stronger than ever. You have to remind yourself, you know who Allah is. You know what the Quran says. And you know these people do not represent your God. These people do not represent your Lord.
One of our caterpillars
I accidentally pressed the something, but that's pretty much the end of the video anyway. Right, so we're gonna go now to Hatun. Hatun is a content creator on YouTube. Her channel's called Hatun Tash. She's a I think she's Turkish.
Has already cooked.
Be silent. And Hatun was doing a reaction, and I was like, oh, Hatun beat me to the punch, but it's not an issue. It's not an issue. Because I know I'm shocked. This thing came across my timeline this morning. I just got into TikTok. There was after that the whole Muslim versus Christian debate thing. There was a lady who made a video on, and I couldn't find it, and I realized it was on TikTok. So I was like, okay, let me go open TikTok and find it, right? And then, oh, TikTok is addictive. Jesus. The mindless scrolling with TikTok is dangerous. It is dangerous. You just, as soon as you enter, you're just like sucked in, right? So I said to myself, no more. I wonder if Hatun will give me a copyright strike if I show the intro, because her intros are so funny, and obviously they're deemed like blasphemous because it's images of Muhammad. But I don't know. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I do it? Should I not do it? Oh, let me see if I can full screen it. I hope everyone's having a good Saturday. Right, let's have a little look-see.
My first, you are not my first wife, but you are young and lovely. You will be my pleasure wife. I already have children with my first wife. They are my priority, I want no more. I told you to give me none. What? You're pregnant again. I won't love them. You are not my first wife. Not my first wife. Not my first. You are not my first wife. You are no longer very young. You will never be a first wife. You accepted my offer to be second. Now let me use the bed in your home for my new woman to visit me in. I can't take her to my first wife's home. You are not my first wife. Not my first wife. Not my first. You are not my first wife, but you were my American wife. I said I would take you to my country. Well, here you are. You can meet my uncles, but no women in my family. My uncles say you must find a way, have our marriage annulled and go home. You are not my first wife. Not my first wife. Not my first. You are not my first wife. Yes, I married another right after you and I broke up. But now I am in America. Let's do temporary marriage. Wouldn't that be fun? We can be together over here. You are not my first wife. Not my first wife. Not my first wife. Not my first. You are not my first wife, but you will be my favorite. We are a love match, so beautiful you are. Now I must return to our country, to my first wife and 3 sons. All my money goes to them. Have Americans support you. I can't. You are not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first. Second wives aren't legal in the USA. You have no hold on me, and I am still free. You are not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first wife, not my first. You're almost nothing.
Hallelujah. Let Lord Jesus Christ shine forth. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining. Welcome to live stream. Call in live stream. Live.
Right, so that was quite a Hatun comes out of the gate swinging. Okay, first and foremostly, we know in Islam you're not allowed to make images of Muhammad, so she just completely craps on that by having a slideshow of images of people depicting Muhammad dressed in his in women's clothing and women's underwear. There's a hadith that says, do not hurt me concerning Aisha. Hadith is sayings and tradition of Muhammad. So there were a set of books that were written about 200 years, compiled after Muhammad, known as hadith. These are the sayings and the traditions of Muhammad, and it gives the Quran context. Basically, you cannot really understand the Quran without the hadith, because the Quran is not complete. Muslims will say it's complete, and according to the Quran it's a clear book, but it's not a clear book, because there's lots of information which is assumed but it's not stated. For example, in the Bible you see a character, there's a beginning, a middle and an end to the person's story. You understand who they come from, where they lived, what they did, how they started, how they ended. So it's a complete story. You have all the information you need. Whereas in the Quran, it just introduces characters randomly. Remember this person, remember that person. It relies on the assumption that you've read about these people in other documents. And this is where you have part of what is known as the Islamic dilemma. The Islamic dilemma states that the Quran says if you have a doubt, go and ask the people that were reading the books before you. But then the same book claims that the books don't exist, they're corrupted. So if the books don't exist, why did you tell us to go and consult those books? So that means that the Quran is giving a statement which is nonsensical and illogical. It's not even doable. If you say the Torah and the books of the New Testament, the Gospel, doesn't exist anymore, then how can we consult them? And if we say that they are in existence and they're logical and they're true, then we have to still reject Islam, because Islam contradicts what came before. Theologically, Islam is antithetical to Judeo-Christianity. Everything about Islam is actually the opposite of what Jews and Christians believe. So if we accept the Bible, we have to reject Islam. And if we say we can't accept the Bible because it's corrupted, we still have to reject Islam, because Islam says go to the people of the book and go to the book that the people were reading before you. And Muslims will say different ways to get out of the Islamic dilemma, which is the Bible wasn't mentioned, and there's been changes to the text, and there's what other arguments do they use? It's not talking about the books you have now, but we have thousands of manuscripts from before and after Muhammad. In fact, the reason why we have so many versions of the Bible is because when we find earlier and earlier manuscripts, we translate them into modern day English to get as close of a document to what the first century church was reading. So as we find earlier and earlier manuscripts, we are able to say what the Jews and yes, the early church was full of Jews. What the early Christians were reading, and what we find is the book is pretty much unchanged, especially the theology. The significant parts of scripture that make Christian doctrine, those parts are not affected by anything we find. So even if we grant that there has been textual variation, the core doctrine of the Christian faith has not been altered in any way. So everything in Islam is a dilemma because of the contradictory nature internally of the book. But beyond that, there are external contradictions as well. Because if Muhammad is allegedly a prophet like Moses, this is not true, because Muhammad contradicts the Ten Commandments, which is the fundamental law of Moses. Moses went up in the mountain, according to the Bible, spent 40 days in the presence of the living God, and came down with 2 tablets written by the hand of God. This is what the Bible says. And so if the fundamental of the faith is the Ten Commandments, the basic moral law of God is the Ten Commandments, then Muhammad cannot be a prophet simply because he breaks the Ten Commandments. The first commandment, I'm the Lord your God that brought you out of the land of Egypt. You'll have no other gods before me. This is not Allah. Some Muslims say, well, in Aramaic, the word for God was Allah. This is true. But grammatically, Allah and Allah are 2 different words, because Allah is a combination of 2 words, the God and the name of the God. The name of the God of the Muslims is La, L-A-H, who was a moon deity. Allah is not really a name in that sense. As I said, the second part of the word Allah is the name of the God. It's like saying the King Charles. The king is not the king's name. It's more like a defining of his title or his position. Charles is his name. The king is the title and the position he holds in relation to the rest of the society. So Allah, the God, is letting you know we're talking about a God, and the God's name is La. But Allah, in Allah, Al is the word God. So in Allah, the name of the God is first. Al, Il, El, Elohim, El Elyon, El Shaddai. The El part is the Lord God. And then the description comes after. Michael, Gabriel. The name of God is embedded in the name of the angels. So, first commandment already out the window. The second commandment, do not make any graven image or bow towards it. Muslims try to sidestep this issue and say, well, we don't worship the black stone. It's just a point of reference and a point of focus. It doesn't matter the excuse you use, because the second commandment doesn't say why you bow. It just says don't bow. 5 times a day, Muslims bow to a pagan astrological shrine and a rock. The Kaaba is orientated in a certain way to be aligned with the stars. The same way Stonehenge tracks the movement of the sun. Like if you stand in the middle of Stonehenge or stand close to Stonehenge, you notice at different points of the day, and Stonehenge is like a monument in the UK countryside. No one seems to know who built it. It's got some heavy ass arch stones. But when you stand at a certain position, as you look at certain points in the day, the sun appears in between the arches, Stonehenge. So ancient cultures, they used to worship the sun, the moon, and the different stars. And the Kaaba is orientated in such a way that it also tracks the stars. So we know the Kaaba has nothing to do with Abraham. It has nothing to do with Ishmael. It could have something to do with Ishmael's descendants, because when you search online from a purely historical standpoint, the descendants of Ishmael, they went off into, some did go into Arabia, but they were polytheists, they were pagans. And although they say Abraham and Ishmael built the Kaaba, there's really no evidence for that. And even the story of Abraham and Ishmael building the Kaaba, it doesn't make any sense, because, well, again, as we said, everything in Islam is a dilemma. Number one, the Quran says that Muhammad is the first messenger to the people of that region. So if Muhammad is the first messenger, did Abraham and Ishmael build the Kaaba in silence? Did they just show up and start building this shrine and there was no one there to worship? Like, how is this the first house of worship if they didn't tell anybody come and worship? What did they do? Just build it like a mute and then disappear? Like, the whole story is completely ridiculous. Why would Abraham build the Kaaba in alignment with the stars if he's already accepted the call of the true God to monotheism? Because for those who don't know the story, and this story is heavily plagiarized in the Quran from the Jewish oral tradition known as the Midrash. So you have the Torah proper, which is the first 5 books of any Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And according to Jews, not all Jews, but most Jews, there was a oral tradition that accompanied the written book, because the written book tells you what to do, but the oral tradition explains in more detail how to do it. So there's a story in the Midrash, which is an oral tradition book based around the story of Abraham, saying that Abraham's father used to carve idols and had a shop selling these little idols. And Abraham was mischievous and he did different things, and one day he smashed up the idols and put the hammer in the hand of the biggest statue that he didn't smash. So when the father came and said, "Who did this?" Abraham allegedly said, "The big idol," you know, basically the little idols got into a fight, and to stop them from fighting, the big idol smashed all the small ones. So the father of Abraham allegedly said, "Why do you mock me? You know these idols can't do anything." So Abraham allegedly says to him, "Well then, if you know they can't do anything, why do you worship them?" And so it's like this story has made its way into the Quran in some twisted manner. And the Muslims are saying, well, Abraham rejected polytheism and idolatry and was serving the true God. And there's people saying, well, Abraham worshipped the sun, moon, and stars, or that's what his people worshipped before coming to monotheism. So if Abraham left his people, left idolatry, left star worship, and started following the true God, why would he then go and build an astrological shrine with his son? Why would he build a shrine that lines up with the planetary movement if he's now serving the true God. So even the orientation and things of the Quran prove that it wasn't built by a monotheist, it wasn't built by Abraham, and these stories are just a concoction to make the Kaaba seem legitimate. So the second commandment is out of the window. What's the third commandment? Can't remember now. I don't know if it's the Sabbath. We know Muslims don't keep the Sabbath. They don't know what the Sabbath is. They work every day, even when they have holidays. A lot of the time they'll be still working. They don't have a day off. They don't have a day of rest and reflection and things like that. Maybe a holiday when they have Ramadan or something, but other than that, no. They believe in, murder. Muhammad had a number of people put to death for criticizing him. One of them was an old woman, according to the hadith. An old woman who made poetry against Muhammad, saying, you people had good leaders and you rejected them, and now this tyrant has come and you follow him. So one day Muhammad said, who will rid me of Marwan's daughter? So in the middle of the night, a blind follower of Muhammad, because obviously for a blind person, respectfully, it's like it can be night all the time. So when everybody else couldn't see, for him, it's no different to the daytime. And he crept into this woman's tent while she's lying on the bed with her children and drove a sword through her. When they woke in the morning, they found her deceased. There's another woman who criticized Muhammad, elderly woman. He got 2 camels. He tied one foot and one leg to one camel and the other foot with the other leg to the other camel and tore the woman in 2. And this is psychological warfare against anybody who wants to resist Islam, which we're going to get into with this video by this lady Aya. Because if you listen to what she said, people are intimidating her online. They're saying they want to do horrible things to her and her daughter. I just saw the daughter. I couldn't believe how little the daughter was. And people can fix their mouth. We're going to look at one of the screenshots of the comments that was left under one of her videos by Muslims. Remember, this is a woman who says she's still a Muslim. But because she openly criticizes the system, she's deemed an apostate, a disbeliever, a person who's left Islam, which means she's fair game now. Anything happens to her happens because she's decided to turn her back on following the rules. You see, the problem is not just the leaving of the religion. Islam is embroiled, embedded with hypocrisy. It's their life, it's their blood, hypocrisy. If you leave Islam silently, even you leave Islam in your heart but you don't tell anybody, Muslims will let it slide. But the moment you start opening your mouth and saying there's a problem, fear takes these people. Because they know a lot of people have doubts about Islam, questions that they can't get answered, things they can't reconcile. And they're literally on the verge of leaving. or many in their heart have left already, but they can't leave openly and publicly and live their life free of the religion because of the fear of what this lady has gone through. Being bullied, being persecuted, being attacked, being demonized, being slandered, having your house broken into, false police reports. There was a man called, what was it? I can't remember what his name is. Something Veils. And he does like panorama style videos. Again, he's a Muslim. He's a Muslim. But he criticizes some of the prominent Dawah people. As I said, Dawah is the Islamic version of evangelism. Because this is another language for people who don't watch this type of content, or they're not Muslim. You know, we're using these terms. You're like, what the hell's Dawah? What does that mean? So I'm assuming people don't know, so I'm gonna try and insert the explanation at the point. This guy, can't remember what the Veils guy. I have to figure it out. My battery is running low. Is it not charging? Should be. This Veils guy turned around and said he's going to expose some of these Dawah bros, because what happened, one of these prominent Islamic Dawah propagators on YouTube did an Islamic marriage known as misyar. Sunni Muslims do not believe in so-called temporary marriage, allegedly. But Sunni Muslims practice a thing called misyar, which is basically girlfriend, boyfriend, friends with benefits type situation. There's two types of misyar. There's the one where the woman knows, and there's the one where the woman doesn't know. And the core of misyar marriage is the woman gives up some of her rights in order to have a man. And you're allowed to be intimate with this man because he's classed as a husband, but you do not have the full benefits of a wife. So the way they arrange it, the way they try to make it sound more palatable is by saying, say the woman has a house, a job, she doesn't need the husband to financially support her, but she still wants little benefits of having a man, the way a woman outside of Islam, or even inside of Islam, because it happens in Islam as well, would have a boyfriend. She has his life, her life, sorry, he has his. They come together, they do stuff. Maybe you go to his house, he cooks you dinner. He goes to your house, you cook him dinner. You might have sex, and that's it. But there's no legal binding commitment. Now in Islamically, yes, there's more of a binding commitment because they do the marriage ceremony, but he doesn't live with her full time. Maybe she's not his first wife, which is why I played the song. You are not my first wife, you'll be my pleasure wife. I think this is taking shots at Muhammad Hijab, because what happened is Muhammad Hijab is a very prominent Islamic Dawah bro who engaged in a misyar marriage with a woman, and this is when he did the misyar where she doesn't know. So she's a single mom, she's a divorced woman, she's looking to remarry, and she said, I'm looking for help to find a husband. She went to Muhammad Hijab and started talking about a brother, and he said, this guy's no good, don't go with him if you take my advice. So she starts setting her sights on Muhammad Hijab. And he said, well, you know, I'm already married. You know, I'm not the one. But if you want, you can be my second wife. Eventually she ground him down. And she was like, no, I don't want to be a second wife or a secret second wife. Because in Islam, a man doesn't have to ask permission from his wife to take another wife, because that's seen as his Islamic right. He has the right to up to 4 wives. And when they do a marriage ceremony, when a man marries a woman, she has to stipulate at that time whether or not she's okay with him marrying other women. If she doesn't say to him before they do the ceremony, I'm not happy for you to take additional wives, he could go out, meet a woman, run her up the mosque, which even Muhammad Hijab didn't do. He married this woman over a Zoom call. The witnesses were in the Zoom. The whole thing was done online. And then the man can marry this woman, and the first wife has no knowledge that the husband has gone to the mosque, met a woman, and done marriage ceremony to another woman. It's only one day she might find out her husband has wife and kids somewhere else. He doesn't have to ask her, he doesn't have to consult her. So in the song that we just listened to, You Are Not My First Wife, it's making a mockery of how Muslims really bastardize the covenant of marriage. Remember guys, I'm ironing. So if you're commenting, I'm not looking. Focused on these creases. So this YouTuber, Muhammad Hijab, told the woman, okay, if you want to be a second wife to me, it will have to be secret. At first she said, no, I don't want that. But Muhammad Hijab is obviously making good money from YouTube. He's a very popular content creator. He makes thousands from his live stream, doing conferences, doing talks. I don't think he has a secular job, because he makes all his money from social media. And as a single mom in a community that overvalues virginity, they make out like they value virginity, but they'll still mistreat a virgin. So let's not get it twisted. They'll still mistreat a virgin. The fact that you have an unused vagina is not going to save you. You'll still be used, abused, and discarded if you're not careful. So this woman obviously is not a virgin, because she's coming to the table with her children from a previous marriage. So her chances of becoming a first wife and an only wife to a man who's childless or whatever is not impossible, but it's reduced. And this is why he was like, you know, you've got to kind of take whatever you can get, because you're used goods now. It's public knowledge. Remember, Islam is all about hypocrisy. In Islam, the word virgin doesn't mean never had sex. The word virgin means never married. A Muslim woman could have had sex with 1,000 men. If she never married one of them, she can come with a clear conscience and say, I'm a virgin. This is the confusion of Islam. Anytime they use a word in English, you have to ask them, could you please clarify that? Because what they mean and what you mean is usually two totally different things. Two totally different things. Don't let any Muslim fool you. When they say, oh, we believe in marriage, we don't believe in girlfriend, boyfriend. No, but you do misyar. What's the misyar? This woman, she thought it over. She said, you know what? Even if I'm a secret second wife, I'm still going to be better off than with an average Joe Schmo. He's rich, he's famous, he can take care of me and my daughter. Okay, so I'm a secret, but so what? So she said, okay, I'm not a virgin, so I don't need to ask for permission, really. We can go ahead, we'll do the ceremony, we'll get married. I'll be a secret second wife. And then in time, when you're in town and my family's about, you come sit down and talk with my father and do things the honorable way according to our culture. Muhammad Hijab agrees. So they start do the boom boom in the hotel. She arrives, he arrives separately. They book the room, they do boom boom boom, then they leave separately. All right, you go first this time. When you're finished, I'll clear up any debt and pay. So they're going to the hotel, going to the hotel, going to the hotel. They don't go to her house. She certainly can't go to his house because the wife is there, the first wife. So one day, this second wife, her name is Aisha, she get fed up. She say, Muhammad, what's really going on here? Every night you just bring me to this hotel, we do the boom boom boom, and then afterwards you send me home and you go home. When you gonna sit down with my father? When you gonna talk to my people and introduce yourself as my husband? Muhammad Hijab took her by the hand and said, listen, I'm not gonna meet your father. I'm not gonna meet your father, my dear. I have no interest in meeting your people. Because he said, don't tell them we did the marriage. Because it's much easier to keep the marriage sacred without the in-laws getting involved. That's the lie he told her. Her being desperate for a man. She agrees. So she's got this marriage to this guy, a secret. He can't come to her house because they're going to see him. They're going to say, oh, God forbid, you're fornicating with this man. Not knowing they went up the mosque, or they did Zoom call with the imam, and they did nikah, marriage over the Zoom. And her dowry was a McDonald's chicken sandwich. Can you imagine? He gave her food. She gave up her vagina for McDonald's chicken sandwich. So this is misyar when the woman doesn't know. Muhammad Hijab knew all along what he was planning to do. That he wasn't going to marry this woman as a proper wife. He's just going to use her to get her into bed. And once he's got what he wanted, then he exposed the plot. So now she said, well, I never signed up for this. I signed up for marriage. I thought you was going to make me a proper wife. Even if it's a secret wife. But you're going to do me right. He said, you have a choice. We can continue going to the hotel, but this is as far as it goes. He said, I don't want no children. And I'm not trying to get you pregnant. So I'm even wondering if Muhammad Hijab did vasectomy. Because it coming like maybe them two are having unprotected sex, but she's not falling pregnant. He's like, I'm going to make sure you're not having any kids for me. So for all we know, if he can lie about a secret wife, he could lie about a vasectomy. He could have run up the, one time when he making out like he gone to do conference, he went and had the snip. You can have vasectomy in the afternoon, in your lunch break. Men do it all the time. He knows what he's up to. And he's not trying to have no outside children. He said, well, you're not going to have no baby for me. You're not going to have no baby for me. So this is what the Muslims do. Misyar marriage. So she said, oh, I never signed up for this, divorce me. She can't even divorce him. She has to ask him to divorce her. That's Islamic rule. Women cannot divorce the men. They can only ask to be divorced. So he said, if you want to go, go. But this is as good as it gets. Hotel boom boom. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm not taking care of you. I'm not taking care of your daughter. I'm not going to meet your family. So she come crying on the internet now looking for sympathy. But what sympathy can you have? This is what your religion teaches. This is permissible. Because Muhammad is having sex with one of his favorite slaves, Mary the Copt. And the wives are getting jealous. So he promised them, I'm not going to have sex with that woman no more. I told you this in the last video. But he can't stay off Mary's pum pum. He can't stay off that woman's front. Every time he sees her, his body's jumping. So he said to one of his wives, your father is looking for you. It was her day to spend with Muhammad. So she went running to her father's house. And the father said, what are you doing here? She said, Muhammad told me you were looking for me. He said, no, I never sent for you. So immediately she knows something's up. She turned her camel round and she hightail it back to the house. And when she get back to her tent, what does she find? Muhammad in her bed with Mary the Copt. And she says to Muhammad, in my bed, on my day. And that's how the verse in the Quran come, that the man has the right to make promise and oath and break it. So this is the basis for the concept of misyar. Husband can make oath and promise, but he knows he has no intention of keeping it. Once he gets what he wants, he can break the oath. They say a man's word is his bond, but a Muslim man's word counts for nothing because they use Taqiyyah, they use Islamic deception. I'm doing this to educate you. We have Muslims who are friends, family, colleague, and bit by bit they're being indoctrinated into this garbage. You just see them as little Johnny, but bit by bit they're sucking up this ideology which turns them into a demon, turns them into an antichrist. No matter how much they say they don't agree with something, this is the Islamic way. On the one hand, they say they don't agree with something, but then the very thing they say they don't agree with, they're doing it. Thou shalt not commit murder. That's what the second commandment says. Muslims will say we don't believe in murder unless it's a kuffar, an unbeliever, a disbeliever, including the apostate, like this girl. They've deemed that she's an apostate because she says she doesn't believe certain things. So now it's permissible to break into her house, to send her death threats, to tell her to end her own life. Who is coming and breaking into this woman's house and sending her these vile messages? everyday rank and file Muslims. It's not Islamic police. It's not Sharia law enforcement. The same person that you sit next to in the office could be the one who at night broke into this woman's house to let her know, keep making content on social media, you can be touched. You can be touched. They will gladly go to jail for doing what they believe is Islamic justice on this woman. Why? Not because she's having doubts about certain aspects of the religion, but because she had the gall to come out openly and say her doubt. Remember, hypocrisy is the bread and butter of the Muslim. Hypocrisy is the bread and butter of the Muslim. If she was just making content, if she was just having doubts, nobody would say anything to her. But the fact that she publicly talks about the issues and the flaws in Islam is why now she has to get silenced. So the bullying campaign starts. The bullying, the intimidation. Because Muhammad said, I have been made victorious by terror. And so Muhammad's people use terror. They use terrorism to combat anybody into silence. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Polygyny is adultery. God never ordained for man to have multiple wives. But Muhammad is saying you can not only have wives, you can have concubine, and you can also rape your captives. And as we saw, Muhammad is having sex with his slave, who was given to him as a gift. She wasn't a captive. She was allegedly a gift. Muhammad the slave trader, accepting human beings as present. Hello, hello, hello. So yeah, so we continue. I just jumped on the phone. So there's no way I'm going to be able. I could do it through the TV, I guess. So Muhammad is supposedly a prophet like Moses, and yet Muhammad is breaking all of the commandments of God. Thou shalt not steal unless you are the kuffar. There's hadith that talks about if you invite the non-Muslim to Islam and he doesn't accept Islam, it's okay to rob him. Muhammad was a caravan robber. The third commandment, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord in vain. Muhammad doesn't even know the name of the Lord. But you can swear falsely in the name of Allah. You can say, Wallahi and things like that. But it doesn't mean it's the truth. You can just say that in order to get out of a situation. So they don't mind to take the name of their God in vain. Do not covet thy neighbor's wife. Muhammad has a privilege that says he's allowed to take a man's wife. He has 16 privileges. And one of them says if his eyes fall on a woman who is married, the woman's husband has to divorce her so that Muhammad can have sex with her. All this alone is the basis why we reject Muhammad as a true prophet. Because a true prophet of God is not going to teach to break the basic moral code, which is the 10 Commandments. Put some more water in this iron. It's a bit dry. And then the last one, thou shalt not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. His ox, his ass, his manservant, his maidservant. When Muhammad and his tribesmen stormed the Jewish tribe of Bani Qurayza and slaughtered all of the men in one day, different reports say different numbers, but we're talking hundreds of Jewish men were beheaded and the women and children were taken captive. The wife of the leader was taken captive, Safiya. So when Muhammad was informed, this very rude cyclist while I'm talking. When Muhammad was informed who Safiya was and how beautiful she was, he said, I will give you 7 slaves for Safiya. Trade with me. And eventually the guy said, okay. The one who originally took Safiya for himself, he agreed and said, all right, give me the 7 for Safiya. Even though Safiya is a free woman, slave trading is abhorrent and disgusting. Muhammad can't see anybody with anything. He took a ring from a Jew and everyone started to tease him because he was so in love with this gold ring, to the point where he said, no man shall wear gold again. So Muslim men are not allowed to wear gold, only the women.
I can't get TikTok on TV. I can't even find the remote now. So this is the state of Islam. Islam is an antichrist religion. It's a religion of corruption, of wickedness, of perversion. Everything that the Bible calls good and holy, the Muslims, they call it unholy. Or they have a hypocritical standard. They can do it, but you can't do it to them. It's okay for them to murder, but you can't murder a Muslim. But they can murder a Muslim. If they feel like that person is an apostate, they have the right to go and unalive that person. So let's get into this. We'll play this on the TV and see if it can pick it up.
Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, be his woman, that we are not merely a second wife or a third wife, but we are a daughter of the King, and he loves us and he cares about us each. And we're not just chosen because we can give him something that he wants, but in fact, even though we denied him, he loved us enough to die for us and offer us eternal life with him.
Well, it's great to be reminded that you worship awesome God. I don't know why you brought up abuse things, because
the first wife song.
Is there like something vibrating on your table under the mic?
No, 1 moment.
It might be my son, I don't know. I'm just checking. So the reason I said that is, while we are enjoying and delighting in our God, there is ideology out there simply continues to abuse their own. Not only abusing others, but abusing their own. So, no, I don't hear it.
Do you hear it now?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, do I have anyone in the chat can confirm if you are hearing, like someone is like, L is doing 434 on the mic, but gentle version, like handkerchief version instead of like miswak version. Yeah. Okay, put it on and then say some stuff. Or I'm not sure, like if it just starts at the beginning and then stops, or it goes all the time.
Jesus Christ, Lord Muhammad is a false prophet. Seek and share truth. Islam is not truth. Without lies, Islam dies. Thank God.
Well, apparently your audio is okay. According to Andrew, if anyone complains about the audio, then Andrew is in trouble. I've got phone trouble, so I washed my phone in the washing machine. Sometimes it together like 40 minutes to an hour. I thought it was protected because it has like Muhammad on it. But yeah, it has like no signal. It has like lots of no things in it. It's cleaner, but it's just not working. So it's been rice waiting for a while, but still like it says like no service. I'm just like, what's wrong with your phone? You need to have service, but it says no service. Meantime, I decided to leave me. It's okay. Rejection is powerful tool that people commit suicide.
No, by the grace of God, he sacrificed his life for us and offers us life in him. He doesn't want us to choose death. He wants us to choose life in him. So I know it's hard sometimes, but thank God for his life that he's given us and the opportunity to help other people pursue eternal life with this life, too. Is my mic any better? I was trying to fix it. That's why I abandoned you.
Okay. No, this one is not waterproof. It's been like clean. It was like, God knows how hot is the washing machine.
Yeah, it may be waterproof. It's probably not heat proof and proof.
Yeah. And I was just like, I was gonna check something, and then I noticed it says like no service. It turned on though. It just like, I had a hope that Mohammed would protect it, but no, it didn't. Okay, so since when we were talking about hi and how are you chit chat, you brought up woman. I thought that might be relevant to start with the stream. So those of you who are joining us in the chat, welcome. I pinned the link for people to call in to make their case on why they believe Islam is true.
Did you see it just popped up like right before we started the stream? So I haven't watched it yet, but I just saved it to my watch later. There's a new episode by a group, I guess, called the Muslim Safe Space. I know nothing about them, for the record, but they posted a video called "Do All Muslim Women Think the Same?" Have you seen anything on that yet?
Like I turned on my computer maybe like 5 minutes before we went live. So I don't know what's happening. What is interesting in that? What do you have there?
Oh, I don't know. I just I'm curious if they talk about like topics about the treatment of women in Islam. Something that I'm going to look into later. But I was just curious if you saw something on it, because it sounds like something on this topic of like women in Islam.
So is it like on YouTube? Like there's a channel called "Do Muslim Women Think Same" or something? Is that?
Yeah. The channel name is the Muslim Safe Space. It's not that large of a channel. But the episode is "Do All Muslim Women Think the Same?" Which I would think the immediate answer that anybody would have to give is no, because apparently when two men are sufficient witnesses, you need one man and two women to be of equivalent witness level. But apparently not all women think the same, because there's a specific reason that's given to back that up is, if one woman, errs, the other can correct her. So clearly not all Muslim women can think the same if you need one woman to correct another woman's error. But you wouldn't need, that many men. You would only need one man and two women, or two men total.
Well, I'm amazed that you think even Islam gives right to woman to think. So that's like gives you double credit, right?
Well, she's not allowed to reject it. If she's called to witness, she has to. The Quran also talks about that. So
that's something we can dig into it. Or there is a kind of thinking unique woman here. Do you know her?
I do not know her personally, but I know of her. I have seen various clips of things that she said in the past, and I have seen a more recent clip of something she recently said, and I do think that's very, very relevant to this discussion, absolutely. And the way that she's been treated by Muslim men and Muslims around her. I don't know if you saw Orthodox Muslims' take on her, but wow, that was interesting. Very interesting.
I don't fight Orthodoxism. That guy, like someone who thinks I'm a very generous person. I wasted my time to watch like stupid video of Ali Dawa. With that, I'm just like, Ali Dawa is like among Adnan Rashid, and then they used to have like some useful tongue stuff. And then I saw only a few clips of Orthodox Muslim, and then one of them came to me with someone, I think that person was Muslim, saying like, oh, no one is able to answer him, no one is able to answer him. And then they sent like 3 hours video. And then that guy didn't know anything about it. And then turned up, it's the same guy who thinks Son of Man is all about Muhammad. And then it turned up that same guy thinks like, same guy posts things as a reference for what he's saying with the screenshot they posted, disagrees with what they are saying. And then that wasn't enough. Same guy thinks Muhammad is mentioned in the every chapter, every book of the Torah. And I'm just like, yeah, not good. So, but someone sent me this, apparently, I don't remember, but they said, I put up a video about this lady before. I can't remember. I didn't have time to check, like, I hope I put her on the thumbnail. I didn't have time to check what was I said about this lady before, but someone sent the clip that, which I listened a little bit of it. I felt very sad for a couple of reasons, and then we can go through this video. But I've got something in the backstage. What do you have there?
I just wanted to show the thumbnail of Orthodox Muslims video on her. I think it says it all, just looking at the thumbnail, and then keeping that in mind for as we watch the video, or we can go in the reverse order, see what he had to say about her after hearing what she says. Either way is okay, but yep, this is the video that he posted of her. I don't know if you guys can see that thumbnail very well, but yep, that whatever she said in this video must have really gotten to him, and he had to do this whole expose calling her Mossad. And we can talk about that more later, but I thought that was at least worth showing, was the thumbnail. Mind you, this is a Muslim woman who wears a hijab, who has always advocated for Islam, who has always advocated for other hijabi women.
So we watched the video at the beginning of this live stream, the TikTok. So they're getting into reacting to this lady Aya now, right? So the younger lady who is doing the reaction, known as Elle, she is commenting on another content creator who did a video about this woman Aya. So when Aya says, these Dawa bros are attacking me and calling me horrible names, immediately I knew one of them she was an Israeli spy. She used the word spy. She said they called her a spy, but we know what that means if we're kind of watching this content. Anybody who goes against Islam, they immediately accuse you of working for Israel and calling you Mossad. So I haven't seen this video in its entirety, this reaction, and they've confirmed it. One of the Dawa bros made a video with this lady's picture in it, and they put across the front the word Mossad. See? I know it's backwards because I'm using the TV. Mossad. So they're accusing this woman now of being an Israeli spy, an agent, simply because she goes against Islam. So again, this is already fueling the hatred and the justification of the abuse of this woman, because she has been, I don't want to say brave enough, but she has had the gall to come out and talk against this religion.
She must be Mossad.
You know, mother of the believers who doesn't have any kid, just got married as a kid, says, I never seen believing woman suffering as much as, I never seen any woman suffering as much as believing woman. Yeah. All this thing, like the part of the clip I watched, just reminded me that. And before we go through the clip, I want people to keep this in mind, okay? As Al pointed out, this lady is Miss Muslim. And, I think this is the same lady, some of the Dawa gangs, no need to mention the one.
Yes.
The one who needs the Dawa, send his gangs to her house, to break into her house. That's
That is
I think, yeah, that's this lady. That's, I put a video about her on this. She was saying her Muslim brothers broke into her house to harm her, and she become homeless. Yeah, that's this lady. Yeah, so if they are doing this to their ones, okay, the one who identify themselves as Muslim, worship Allah, do their prayers, all the Muslim things they need to do. If they put their ones in this situation, think about what happens to the ones who are not Muslims. Okay, think of the grooming gangs. Think of the all other things Muslims are doing to non-Muslims. So that's point number one. Point number two. Let me remove. They call her Mossad. I thought Malik was Mossad, but anyway. So and
that was the first thought that came to my mind. This is the reason why I'm even doing this live stream, because when this lady who identifies as a Muslim, she comes through and starts talking about how she's being harassed in her home. They broke into her property where she has her little daughter. If they can do this to somebody who still identifies as a Muslim, how much more will they do that to the people who reject Islam? And we're going to see the vile comments that they put. I don't know if we're going to be able to read it because it's going to be backwards.
Like, if I am looking at this lady, first thing, right now, I'm like, I feel so sorry about her. I know I shouldn't, because she still thinks it has nothing to do with Islam. But if I didn't feeling sorry things, okay, I would be like asking some like unique questions about these like earrings. I don't even have one. What is this thing on your?
I think they're either false lashes or lash extensions or
Whatever that thing is, okay? That makes like your eye like funny. I would be like asking those simple questions. She's got like distinct lips or those kind of things, like full makeup. God knows what is under that makeup stuff. But because Muslims are going after her, I'm just like, let's come alongside of her, support her, like give voice to the woman. Let's do, what is that thing called? Let's do woman
empowerment.
Solidarity.
Yeah, woman empowerment.
No, I think she's gorgeous. I think, it's not very Islamic, focusing on...
You don't know what is under that thing. Like, there is this, it's like on your skin color thing. You put it on your face. It's like, purpose of it to cover everything. Like, so when people put it there, you look very different. Like, people don't get to see the wrinkles. People don't get to see the spots. She's got that thing there.
Yeah, but it's fine. I mean, at minimum, she's very fashionable, right? Like, she cares about her appearance and whatever, and that's not necessarily reflective on who she is as a person, on her spiritual condition, on her heart, and those things matter far more than appearances. But I look
for you, not for Muslims.
But my point was, like, if the whole point of her job is to, not have men be attracted to you and not have men be looking at you and the features of your body, then yeah, that's not very Islamic to draw that much attention to your face. With that said, I don't mind. I think it's a cool look. Like, yeah, it's different. She's got pretty big eyelashes, whatever. Like, Hatun doesn't have to like her eyelashes, that's fine. But I'm not gonna hate on her for her appearance. I might point out, like, hey, it's not Islamic. It doesn't seem Islamic, at least. But it's in Islam, it's more about the letter of the law than the heart of the law. In Christianity, it's like, all right, well, what's the heart of God? And like, that's just not like toe the line to the law, but like, let's see what God desires of us and how we can be honoring to Him. But with that said, I think she has had some change in heart about how much of what's been going on to her is actually from Islam. But I think we're likely about to see some of that now.
Well, I just wanted to clarify. I said right now I feel sorry for her. Therefore, I'm not gonna go after her this phase. Yes, this is about makeup channel. We love to be educated about those topics. Therefore, we got a guest. Her name is Aya, by the way. I learned her name. So we are going to talk about this, what this Miss Muslim is saying. It's a very sad video, actually. Before we also play, I just wanted to remind you, beloved ones, keep her in your prayer. Keep her in your prayer. This is what her Muslim brothers and sisters are doing to her. Let's start.
Do you know what? I'm having one of those days where I am really, really struggling to hold on to Islam. And the reason I'm going to share this is because this is who I make content for. I make content for the girls who are struggling to hold on to Islam, who feel pushed away from Islam by these misogynistic men and women who make the religion so hard for women, who want to push out anyone that thinks differently to them, that wants to weaponize the religion to harm us, to silence us, to stop us from speaking about our experiences.
Okay, let me pause here. Sure. So she does content in the intention of what we would call discipleship, right? So she's involved in dawah. She does content to keep Muslims in Islam. The ones who are questioning Islam, she's making content. She's involved with dawah. And she's got problem with, what is the word?
Misogyny.
People who don't like women. There is a term for it. She's using
Misogynist?
Yeah, she's using that term. But she's not addressing that. She's not using that term for some two beings we know. No, she's not using it for them. She's using them for 21st century men and women, right? Whom she's identifying as Muslim. Because first thing when I hear that word, I was like, oh, she's going to go after Muhammad. She's going to go after Allah. No. So this is like someone who is experiencing terrible things from her own community, doesn't even think that there is something is coming, from the teachings of this religion, what this community is doing. She doesn't even think that.
And before she went to that point, my first point was when she said I make content for women, I'm like, okay, the scripture that says that respectfully, the devil creeps into the houses and leads silly women astray. There's a verse like that, and I can't quote it exactly, but it's something to that effect. I would do it if I wasn't on the phone now, but because I am, I can't Google it. But it says basically in another portion of scripture that Adam wasn't deceived. It was Eve who was deceived. Women are more emotionally led. We know that. And that makes them more susceptible to, if something feels nice, they might pursue it. And if it doesn't feel right, they'll reject it. They're not necessarily looking at things from an objective perspective as much as a man would. And so when this lady makes this content, Aya is what I call a Trojan horse. She is part of the jihad scene. And that sounds like harsh because we know jihad to be typically terrorism. But jihad just means struggle. And there are different types of jihad that the Muslim wages against the Western community. And one of the jihad is going to be through this social media presence. She comes online, she starts crying about being abused by Muslims, but she herself is still a Muslim. And that's going to be like the overarching theme that Hatun is trying to drive home. This lady is making out like she's combating Islam. But Islam cannot be combated if you are still remaining a Muslim. Because the behavior of the Muslims is it's predicated and rooted and grounded in the example set by Muhammad. Muhammad took multiple women as wives. He coveted other men's wives. There's a famous story in the hadith where Muhammad had a slave called Zayd, and Muhammad said Zayd had to marry Muhammad's cousin Zainab. So Zainab, who was his cousin, became his daughter-in-law because Muhammad adopted Zayd as a son. Zayd was a slave who was adopted by Muhammad as a son. So when Zayd married Zainab, Zainab became his daughter-in-law because in those times, an adopted son was equivalent to a biological child. And one day Muhammad allegedly went to see Zayd and saw Zainab in the tent in her underwear. And before you know it, Muhammad started lusting after Zainab, and people started commenting saying, what kind of man is this? He goes after his own son's wife. So he didn't want to pursue it because he knew the community didn't rate that behavior. And then Allah comes to Muhammad's rescue as he always did. The penis of Muhammad was saved. A revelation came that said, Muhammad, you have to marry your adopted son's ex-wife, so other men will know it's okay to do that. And then afterwards, Allah, aka Muhammad, then forbade adoption anyway. So the command still became a pointless command because Muhammad banned adoption. To this day, Muslims do not practice adoption. They may take care of a child from a different household, a different family, but they will never adopt that child into the family and change their name and things like that. They have to keep their original family name. These are the criticisms even of Christians and people at that time, saying, what kind of man is this? In fact, Islam nearly died. When Muhammad died, loads of people just left Islam. They were so glad to be rid of Muhammad that they left Islam in droves. And the Caliph at that time, he went and rounded all the people back up and forced them back into Islam. This is known as the War of Apostates. If they hadn't have forced the people back into Islam, Islam would have died when Muhammad did, because everybody could see Muhammad was not a true prophet. But at that time, he had an army, he had madmen who would fight for him and kill for him. And so out of fear, the people just surrendered. But in their heart, they didn't believe. Look at Iran today. Look how the people in Iran are glad to be free of the regime, even though the regime is not completely gone. But they don't want Islam. They don't believe in Islam. But they had to adhere to the rule because the power was in the hands of the government. It wasn't in the hands of the people. Anybody who goes against the regime, they come up missing. So if you want to keep your life, you just keep your mouth shut and play along. This is in stark contrast to Christianity. Even Judaism. You want to leave, go. Do what you want to do, but know there's a consequence on that day when you stand before God. Nobody's coming to execute you and round you up like a sheep. So that's where we're at with this. My first thought is this lady knows how gullible the women are. A lot of women are going to leave Islam because of the treatment. If you live in a Western country under Christian, Judeo-Christian values, you have equal rights, opportunity to be educated, you can get support. Many Muslim women are realizing no matter how much they're told life is better under Islam, they know that they're doing better under the Western value system. The Western value system, which is rooted and grounded in Judeo-Christian principles. The men are still stuck in the 7th century. Women are property. Cook and clean for me. Bear my children. Don't go out. If you want to, I've had Muslim women. I used to know a lady, and she said to me, "Oh, you're so lucky. You can work and make your own money." And it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Yes, being independent is nice because on the one hand, you feel like, okay, I don't have to answer to anybody. But at the same time, if you're on your own, then you're going to end up having to bear every burden as well. This is why the Christian way, the Jewish Christian way, is a balanced, good way. You can earn, you can work, you can be educated. Even if we say in the Christian world, there's a hierarchy, the woman is called to submit to the man. The man doesn't have the right to use his power to abuse his wife. The man is strictly commanded to love his wife, to take care of her, to show her honor, even to lay down his life for her. So even if there's a hierarchy, there isn't room for abuse. And Muslims say, well, in Islam, the women are treasured, the women are highly taken care of, the women are honored and blah, 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 blah. But the Quran says you can beat your wife. Surah 434, chapter 4, verse 34. If you fear rebellion in your wife, reprimand her, separate beds apart, strike her. And the Muslims will argue and say, oh, it's progressive. If you rebuke her and she corrects her behavior, which she hasn't done, because it says if you fear. So she hasn't even done anything yet, but you fear rebellion. You rebuke her, you admonish her. If she changes her behavior, fine. If not, don't give her any sex. Banish her in the bed. And if she still doesn't behave herself, you have the right to smack her. Now, the Quran doesn't say first, then this, then that. No. If the man feels immediately the woman needs a smack, the husband, according to Islamic law, has the right to smack her. But whether it says, do it this way, then finally beat her or not, this is a grown woman, the mother of your children, the one that you have so-called a marriage with. And you're smacking her like a child. Maybe even beating her like a dog. And there's a hadith, a saying and tradition of Muhammad, where a woman came to Aisha, the little child bride, and said, "My husband is beating me." And the hadith says the women used to come together and support each other. Why they need support, we don't know. Maybe because they're being abused. And Aisha commented the woman had a bruise on her arm that was greener than her clothes. You can just Google the hadith. She had a bruise greener than her clothes. If you Google that hadith, you'll find it. So Muhammad came and said, "What's the problem?" The woman said, "I want to divorce my husband because he's impotent. He cannot satisfy me in bed." And she showed the edge of her cloth and said, "He's about as strong as this piece of cloth." The husband comes running behind with his 2 sons and said, "No, this woman has told a lie. I'm very strong and I can satisfy her, but she wants to go back to her former husband." Muhammad never said to the man, "Why did you beat this woman so much that she has a bruise that is now green?" He never commented once on the bruise. He never commented on the beating. All he said was, "If you want to go back to your former husband, you have to let this one sleep with you first." Which is obviously a catch-22. This woman doesn't want to sleep with this man. It doesn't matter whether he's impotent or not. She doesn't want him. Muhammad said, "Yes, well, it doesn't matter what you want. If you want to go to another man, you have to let this one F you first." This is Muhammad. Muhammad said you have to taste his juice and he has to taste your juice. So much for women are allowed to divorce the men, right? I went to a party yesterday. I got fried chicken. Woo! I'm enjoying my leftover chicken. Now, if the man is impotent, she will never taste his juice because he can't get it up. So she either has to let a man that she doesn't want on top of her climb on top of her, if he can perform, or she's stuck with this man for life because he has erectile dysfunction. This is the wisdom of Muhammad. And in true Islamic fashion, this is even contrary to the Torah and the Bible, the New Testament. Because in the Torah, it says, if 2 people get divorced and they remarry other people, once you consummate the marriage with a second person, you cannot go back to the first. Muhammad said no. In order to go back to the first, you have to consecrate, you have to commit to consecrate the marriage to a next person. So in Islam, if a man divorces his wife 3 times, she is no longer allowed to be his wife again, unless she goes and marries and has sex with another man. Now she's able to come back to the first husband. So when we say Islam is antichrist and antithetical to what came before, we mean it. I haven't found one thing where Muslims and Christians and Jews can agree. Because even when Muslims say they believe in Judeo-Christian-esque principles, when you go deep into what they teach, it's the opposite of what Jews and Christians teach. The Bible says God hates divorce, actually. And Jesus confirmed this and said he never ordained divorce. Moses was the one who created divorce because of the hardness of the hearts of the Jewish people. But divorce was never in the plan of God. And Jesus said, look, if you get married and your marriage really breaks down and it's irreconcilable, all right, separate. But once you divorce, you stay single for life until the person you're married to has passed away. That's when you're both free to remarry. That's what we believe the scripture is saying. That's what it seems to say. Muslim, on the other hand, is chopping and changing spouse like shoes and panty. You don't like this one, just get rid of it, get another one. And this lady in the TikTok that we're looking at, I'm so shocked how young the daughter is. The daughter's clearly about 3. So this girl probably married as a virgin. As soon as they get married, they quickly start having children because they know the husband might not keep them. And then if they can't remarry, at least they can rely on the child to support them. This is why I tell you, when you become a Muslim, you're transported back into the 7th century. Not that long ago, you know, you had to have children to secure your future. There was no pension. You know, you need somebody to work the land, plow the field, da 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 da. So you know, you have to have children. Some of these children not going to make it to adulthood because of, you know, disease and infant mortality and things like that. So you have lots of kids. So even if some go to war or whatever, you know, you still have some that will survive and will take care of you in the old age. And the Muslim is still living in that 7th century mindset. The women have to anyway, because they know if the husband dumps them, they might not find another partner. And I understand that, you know, that's a biological thing. Men want to be able to feel like this woman is theirs and no man has touched them and blah, 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 blah. They come into the situation with children. I mean, you know, they claim to really honor getting married. So not long after they get made into single mothers, they're out on the dating scene again, trying to find new husbands. And we know from the manosphere side of things how challenging it is for women with children to find men who want to raise those children as their own. And in the Islamic community, they're not backwards about coming forward with that. They'll let you know, seeing as sis, you're coming to the table with another man's children, you know, you have a choice, give those children to the father, and then maybe you can be seen as a first wife. But everybody knows you're not a virgin. So some dudes, most dudes are not going to take you seriously as a first and only wife. You're going to have to settle for being a second or a third wife to a man who has his primary wife and lives with his primary wife, and you just get the seconds. You get the what left, the leftover. When he's got a bit of spare time, he'll swing by you know, you do the do in the bed and everything, and you get a little husband thing for 5 minutes, and then he gone back to his main priority. That's what these Muslim men are saying. It's not my words. It's not just my observation. It's what they say. There's one content creator called Daniel Hakikachu. He said, look, these women who are you know, divorcees, you're going to have to settle. You're going to have to take whatever you can get because you're not the top tier priority. He came out in no, it's just a shame that I can't, the laptop is old now, so it needs probably a new battery, because even though it's on the charger, it's not charging, so I can't open it and we screen share and show you. Daniel Hakikachu made it very clear that according to him, a divorced woman is just not a top tier female in their community. So she has to take whatever she can get, which means maybe being a second wife, like this Aisha woman. She was a single mother, a divorcee. No man wanted to marry her. And Muhammad Hijab said, you know, Muhammad Hijab said, you know, look, at the end of the day, you can be my secret second wife, but I'm not going to take you seriously. And then afterwards, he still didn't take her seriously. After we all thought he was going to, she thought he was going to do her well and see her family and you know, be a proper husband, even though we know it's deception and everything. He didn't do her right. No. He used her for sex, pumped and dumped her, and then afterwards said, look, you have a choice. You can stay or whatever. So I don't know which one it was. There was one where Daniel Hakikachu came to fame because of the because of his stance on single moms, not single moms, sorry, on child marriage. He very much advocates for children, marrying children. I don't even know which video it is. Haven't got a clue. I'm trying to find it, but I can't. So Daniel Hakikachu is a bit of a controversial figure, but he says what a lot of Muslims think. That's how they feel. Modern secular version, anyway. I can't find it. I can't find it. So this is the state of Islam. Islam is a religion of, I don't even know what to call it. I don't even know what to call it. Perversion and deception. But this woman, she thinks she's acting like an advocate for women. whilst telling them stay in the religion that says beat you, that you're half a brain. Your intellect is half that of a man. That's why your testimony is half that of a man. The word of one man is equivalent to the word of two women. Aisha, the child bride, said that women shouldn't be taught Quran. They should just be taught how to sew and do things in the house. The man can take additional wives. He doesn't even have to respect his current wife enough to say, honey, I've seen a woman that I like and I want to make her a second wife. How do you feel about that? Marrying children, if we can call this a marriage. Taking a little girl. She can't cook, she can't clean, and robbing her of her future. Because one of the things that I find most abhorrent about the child marriage situation, apart from the pedophilia and just how overall disgusting it is the fact that this is a culture that values virginity. So you rob this girl of her virginity and then throw her like a sheep in the midst of wolves into a community and a society that's going to say, because you are not a virgin, you are no longer valuable. But that choice was taken away from her by her father, by the man who decided to take this little girl as a wife. If he decides to divorce her, she has no future. Because no men are going to now take her seriously because she's a divorcee in their eyes. So it's just such an unfair system. And this is where Hatun and El are trying to kind of talk about it, and they're saying it's sad. This lady is advocating for this corrupt system. No matter how much she cries, this is jihad. This is the Trojan horse. Because women are going to be like, oh my gosh, sister, you're so beautiful. This is all part of the elaborate ruse, the game, the sham, the jihad. This is a type of soft jihad. Bombs and jumping out of cars and attacking people and running them over, that has now galvanized people against Islam. More and more people are waking up and realizing there is a connection. There is a connection between terrorist behavior and Islamic doctrine. So they said, let's put down the terrorism a bit, because instead of it working in our favor, we're not able to intimidate these people into Sharia. We will come through the soft route, which is send the women, they'll be crying, we'll use Gaza, we'll post pictures of people suffering in Gaza every day to get sympathy. We'll get our people in the political positions to change the laws. We'll change the law on freedom of speech, so you can't critique Islam. So anything you say that exposes Islam will now be considered blasphemy. And this lady, all we see her talking like she is a victim. She remains in the system that is doing the victimizing. She advocates for women to remain in this ideology. And she's trying to cope and say, this is not Islam. Well, where did these people get the gumption to say it's okay to break into this woman's house, to threaten her with rape, threatening her little daughter with rape, telling her to end her own life? planting the seed in the minds of other Muslims that it's okay if you walk up on this woman and harm her because she's an apostate now in their eyes. Why is she advocating for this ideology when this is the ideology and the behaviors go back to the founder of the religion? It goes back to your books. This is where the deception comes in. Women will see a woman crying, and we see this in the manosphere. We see this all over with these gullible women. The moment a female opens her mouth, every woman's mouth is open like a baby bird to receive this giant worm of nonsense. They don't think, is this woman even telling me something that's logical? Is this woman telling me something that's really helpful? Oh, it must be true because it's coming from a woman, the font of all knowledge, because she has a vagina. This is how women think. And this is why the Bible said silly women are led captive. Because women are so emotionally driven a lot of the time. As long as you get them stimulated emotionally, they don't even think, could this person be telling me something that's actually harmful? This woman knows who to target, Aya. She knows that men will not tolerate listening to her. But the women will see the pretty face, the nice eyelashes, the flawless makeup, how fashionable she presents herself. And that's all she needs to be seen as some type of credible authority to talk. A pretty face and a few crocodile tears. And I'm not saying that what these men have done to her is right or okay or acceptable. That's not the point. No. Those men and women as well attack this woman because Islam is an antichrist religion. Their father is the devil. The Bible says the devil comes not but to steal, kill, and destroy. And this is how Muslims move. Stealing other people's things. Stealing land, stealing children, stealing people. Killing anybody who opposes them. The Muslims are killing them to silence them. Why do you think they kill apostates? They kill apostates because somebody at the door. These people are antichrist. These people are killers. Kill, steal, and destroy. Anybody who opposes them, they destroy them. And that's what's happening to this woman, Aya. Because she's waking up and coming against Islam and exposing it for the rotten fruit that it is, they have to destroy her to silence her. Otherwise, others will realize Islam is a completely rotten fruit. The only way to escape it is just to leave. But people can't be beguiled and deceived by these Trojan horses. This is a Trojan horse. This woman with her tears is designed to create an emotional reaction where she keeps brainwashing the audience by saying, this is not Islam, this is not Allah, trust in Allah, trust in the religion. But the wicked things that these people feel justified in doing, it goes back to the founder. Like I said, there was one man, he was blind in one eye. And a man was running. I can't remember where he was running from. I think he was a companion of Muhammad. And he was maybe somewhere where they didn't respect Muhammad. Because Muhammad didn't have respect. In a lot of places, nobody took Muhammad seriously. It wasn't for about 10 to about 13 years when he went to Medina, what is now Medina, and killed all the people there and formed an army. Then he came back and besieged Mecca. Up until that time, all those years in Mecca, no one really respected Muhammad. It's only once he started getting a bit of military power that you see people following him. And again, it wasn't they followed him because they believed. They just followed him out of fear. So this man was running from a group of people chasing him because he follows Muhammad, I believe. I can't remember. I didn't read the story. I watched the video. And this man who's blind, he was like a shepherd or a herder or something. He happened to see the man taking shelter in the cave. And he said, okay, well, he made a comment about Muhammad, like a derogatory joke. So the man who was hiding in the cave bided his time. And the shepherd, who's blind in one eye, laid down and fell asleep because he didn't know who this guy was. He just saw a man hiding out in the cave and he thought, oh, a fellow traveler taking shelter from the hot sun. So after he heard about Muhammad's name, he made this derogatory joke. When the blind man fell asleep, the companion of Muhammad took a spear and drove it through the eye that wasn't blind and killed the man in the cave. Then he went back to Muhammad and bragged about how he killed this man in this violent manner, stabbing him through the head and making sure he drove the spear through the man's eye that could see. So even if the man lived, he would be completely blind now because the guy chose the eye that wasn't blind already. This is the vicious, malicious nature of Muhammad and his men. There was another incident where a man had a slave, a female slave, and he killed this woman. And when Muhammad said, why did you slaughter her? The slave said, because she was denigrating you, Prophet. Muhammad said, oh, well, that was good then. You've done the right thing. So Muhammad set a precedent that anybody who disrespects me, anybody who slanders me, anybody who speaks badly about me, they need to be removed. It's okay if you remove them because their blood is halal. Which is why to this day we see Muslims engaging in jihad. V-Dub in the house. Good afternoon, my brother. So we're still talking about Islam. We're still talking about Islam. We're going through the thing. I needed company while I do this ironing right here because this bag of laundry has been looking at me for a while saying, what's going on, girl? Are you going to ever sort us out? I say, yeah, today I'm going to sort you out. I'm tired, hot and bothered, but I can't complain. I'm blessed and highly favored. I hope you're blessed as well. So we're going through this video by a lady called Aya. And I just want everybody to be aware of the Trojan horse of the Muslims. Don't be tricked by her pretty face and crying eyes. If we're talking, we're blessed. Amen. Blessed and highly favored. This lady is leading people astray with her pretty face. But this is all a type of jihad. This is a type of jihad. But this is called soft jihad. So Aya is targeting the women because they're the gullible ones. So let's get back into the video.
Even think that there is something is coming, something is coming from the teachings of this religion, what this community is doing. She doesn't even think that. So it's not about Muhammad, it's not about Allah. She's simply going after, Muslims are simply going after her currently.
Yeah, well, I think it's very interesting because, sorry, did the audio just get way worse? I think it's very interesting because she's actually been doing the cleanup duty for all these Dawa dudes. Muhammad Hijab, Ali Dawa, all these other dudes have been making a mess because they actually promote Islam and all the evil, horrible things that Muhammad did. We see like tiny little replicas of within their lives. We see all this hate against women. We see all this sexualizing of people created in the image of God, both male and female, in very sexually impure ways that these people are lusting after them, thinking about them, encouraging others to be thinking about them. We see advocating for polygamous marriages that are very anti the heart of God. We see these people advocating for violence against people created in the image of God. And so she has been doing the cleanup job for these people, trying to get people, hey, it's like there's bad actors, you know, that's not Islam, yeah, they did this thing, they did that thing, they should stop doing those things, not realizing, well, they're actually following the pattern of conduct from Muhammad. But she has been helping Islam more than Muhammad Hijab, more than Ali Dawah, more than all these other people, because she's been cleaning up after their messes. And yet this is what has happened to her, even though she's actually helped Islam more than they have, I think, which is a negative, of course. It's very negative because it isn't just a problem with Muhammad Hijab and Ali Dawah and all these other Dawah dudes. It's a problem with Islam. But it's crazy that they would attack her for making Islam look better, I guess.
But no one likes cleanup, right? I don't want.
Yeah, you can argue and say she's doing cleanup. But is she really doing cleanup? Is she really doing cleanup? What is clean? Clean is exposing the filth and getting rid of it. But what this lady is doing is hiding the filth. What she is doing is suppressing the filth. This is the contradictory nature of this religion. If we can call it a religion, it's a political ideology masquerading as a religion. The names of these guys that they mentioned, the Dawa bros, They want to be unapologetic about what the religion teaches. They want to say, look, Ali Dawah is infamous for his, and we're proud of that statement. We believe in child marriage, and we're proud of that. We believe in polygyny, and we're proud of that. He has that statement. We're proud of that. So the guys who believe that they are sticking to the traditions of Muhammad and are practicing the religion as authentically as possible, according to how Muhammad taught it, these Dawah bros are allegedly trying to stay true to the true religion. So they deem a lady like this who keeps saying this is not Islam, this is not Islam, as an apostate. A person who's left the religion because she is saying, I don't agree with this, I don't accept that. I don't accept misogyny. But the misogyny is in the text as far as we can see. This is the cloud of confusion that surrounds Islam. Because when you strictly adhere to Islamic ideology, you then begin to live in a way which is antithetical even to common sense. You start to live in a way which is contrary to basic morality. And our God-given conscience tells us the things that you are doing in the name of Allah is not right. So the Muslim has a cognitive dissonance crisis. On the one hand, they want to adhere to their religious law, but even their own conscience tells them what they are doing is not right. So then you get Muslims like this woman who tries to go with her conscience and say, I believe that God is good, therefore anything that's bad can't be from God. Therefore, anything bad in Islam must be coming from the people who are proponents of this, not the religion itself. This is the cognitive dissonance that people like this woman, Aya, is under. And we are saying, no, Aya, your books teach this. And this is the example set by your so-called prophet. The only way to escape this corruption is to leave Islam, because Islam is internally contradictory. On the one hand, Islam claims to care so much about women and respect them and gave them all their rights. But at the same time, it says things like your testimony is half that of a man and you're deficient in your religion because you menstruate. When you have your period, you can't pray, you can't fast. So you're not as righteous as a man because of your God-given period. We believe all that was cancelled at Jesus's time, because the Bible says there was a woman who had an issue of blood. What was that? She was hemorrhaging. She was constantly in a state of ritual impurity because she was constantly bleeding like a period. And one day Jesus was going through a crowd and they're thronging him like a carnival. Wherever he went, a crowd would form. They want to be close to him. They want to touch him. It's not like Muhammad. 10 years after he started his so-called preaching, hardly anybody gave him the time of day. There's even one situation, Muhammad tried to go somewhere and preach to people. They started chasing him and stoning him, throwing fruit and rocks at him, and one broke out one of his teeth. They had no respect for this man. Jesus had a 3-year ministry. From the time he announced he is the Messiah and John baptized him to the time he went to the cross and ascended was just 3 years. And Jesus would walk the streets and thousands of people would throng him. So in this crowd, Jesus is walking. And this woman who's got this issue of blood comes behind, squeezing. She's not even allowed to be in the crowd because she's ceremonially unclean. Anyone who touches her would be classified also as unclean and would have to purify. She said, I don't care. If anybody can heal me, he can. She couldn't get close to him. Jesus, hey, Jesus. She's short. Poor little mite. She said, okay, I can't go over. I'll go down. She start crawling. She look, she say, okay, he's wearing this one. Let me look for the bottom of the garment. I think those are his legs. If I can't touch him, if I even grab the garment. And as she reached, hey, she reached and she touched the hem. Jesus said, who touched me? The poor disciples. I said, God, you're so wonderful. Look at the human being you made. And these are the 12 you chose. But you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Here the disciples. Jesus, are you all right? Do you see the crowd? What do you mean by who touched you? Everyone's touching you. He said, no, there's a special touch. I felt power leave me. God, you're so good. The woman's now shitting a brick now. She said, oh God, he's gonna rebuke me now. He's gonna condemn me because I shouldn't even be here. But I had to try something, anything. Jesus said, it's okay. It's okay. I don't have the text. I can't remember the exact words. But he never rebuked the woman. He blessed her. And as she touched the garment and the healing, it came from the Messiah. Her hemorrhaging stopped. So when people say, why do you go to church when you're on your period? Because God is not touched by period. What God has made clean, nothing can make them unclean. All those things of the Old Testament, those ceremonial laws, it's for the Jews and it's for them. But we're under a higher covenant now. But the Muslim who's trying to emulate the Jew is still stuck in the time of Moses. Stuck under a law that can't save. And it's even a perverted version of the law. It's not even the true law. Because they try to emulate the rituals and they don't even understand the principle behind the ritual. So this woman, she comes online crying. But the only way you can be free is to come under the one that gives eternal life and freedom. There's no freedom, there's no salvation in Islam. Islam is an inconsistent religion within itself, which is why there's so much confusion. This woman is confused. Aya is confused. She knows deep down Islam is imperfect, but because she's so brainwashed and conditioned to say Islam is perfect, now she's in a struggle internally. And then she wants to try to bring that to us, but we will not accept it. You have to come out of Islam because Islam is a perversion of the true teachings of the true and living God. V-Dub says Matthew 9. You see, V-Dub, I was on the computer, but the battery died. I think the battery needs replacing because it's on the charger, but it's not charging. So it said Matthew 9, verse 20. I don't know what it said. The miracle of the healing. Thank you, my darling. You're so sweet. See you. He said, while he was saying these things to them, a synagogue official came and bowed down before him and said, my daughter has just died, but come and lay your hand on her and she will live. Jesus got up and began to follow him, and so did his disciples. And a woman who had been suffering from a hemorrhage for 12 years. Come see the number 12. Hey, 12. When I see the number 12, I say, yes, God, your tribes. Hey, your perfect set of people. 12 is a special number to God, you know. Came behind him and touched the fringe of his cloak. For she was saying to herself, if I only touch his garment, I'll get well. She was so convinced. She was so convinced. She said, I don't even need him to pray. I don't even need him to bless me. I don't need him even to do anything. I will take that blessing. I will just rip it from him. Come. As I was thinking about this live stream, I was thinking about the woman Jesus called the dog. We always talk about it. The Muslims love that scripture, trying to paint Jesus as a misogynist, but it won't work. The devil is a liar. The woman is not a Jew. So Jesus didn't use the law to put pressure on her. He didn't put her to the test using the law. But he still has to test her faith. So he said to the woman when she came, it's not right for me to give the children's bread to the dogs. She said, listen here, Jesus. Some dog is eating better than some human. Because when the master eats the steak, the dog is getting leftover steak. The steak is still steak, my dear. When the master eats caviar, fish, salmon, lobster, you name the expensive food, my dear. What the master doesn't eat, it goes right in the dog's bowl. I'm not talking about them people that have the dog as children today. I'm not even against that, because I understand some people, they don't want children, but dog is equivalent to child. It's just a child that will never grow up. And I see them giving the dog chicken foot, liver, beef. They don't want to give the dog pedigree chum anymore and tin food. No, they have to give the dog real food, they said. Real meat. So the dog, when you go shopping, you have to put extra steak in your basket for Fido. There are dogs eating better than some human being on earth today. She said, I will humble myself because I know what you can do. Even if you insult me and call me every name under the sun, I'm going to be like Jacob. When Jacob wrestled with God, he said, I don't care what you say. I'm not letting you go until you bless me. Do you understand? God, you got a real one here, you know. And Jacob and the angel of the Lord wrestled all night. And he said, listen here. Jacob trying to grab the angel of the Lord by the collar. Listen to me very carefully. I said, I'm not letting you. I said, I'm not letting you. I'm not. And they wrestle and they fight. The angel of the Lord said, no, this man, it means the business. He means the business. Let me just touch his side because he's serious. He grabbing me left, he grabbing me right. I try to fight him, he fights me back. What's going on here? I like this one. This one's got some fight. This one's got some spunk, yes. But I have to touch him now because if I don't shift the odds in my favor, hey, I'm never going to get away from this Jacob. Jacob, the man tried to leave, he grab him by the coat, he drag him back. He's trying to fight, he buff him down. The two of them are going toe to toe. Mike Tyson and Holyfield. And Jacob said, listen, you come all this way. I'm not letting you go until you bless me. I don't care how much you wrestle. I don't care how much you wrestle. Come here. He said, all right, enough. From now on, you're not going to be Jacob no more. I've changed your name. It's Israel. There's your blessing. Let me go. So the woman said, it's okay. Call me dog all you want. But you're still going to bless that child. You're still going to bless that child. So everybody thought, Jesus giving it to the woman, boy. You know them dogs. Jesus said, man, you got some faith on you. I like it. Go, your daughter's healed. So you know her anthem was who let the dogs out. Hey, she started to do doggy dance. Who let the dogs out? Yeah, you can call me every dog under. Am I a Chihuahua? Am I a Poodle? Am I a Cane? Am I a Doberman? Am I a Rottweiler? She started get down on all fours and do twerk. She said, I don't care. Row, row, row. Call me doggy. But my daughter's healed. She humbled herself. She lifted her faith. She wrestled with God and she got the blessing. So God has his consistent way of operating, and that way is completely opposite in Islam. It's so much confusion. We don't know, do you do good deeds? Is it predestination? Is it that you're going to have your sin placed on the Jew and the Christian? Is it Allah's will? Do you have free will? There's so much confusion. So this lady trying to make sense out of nonsense. The Dawah bro said, no, this is what Islam teaches. You like it or you don't like it, we don't care. The Dawah bros are honest about what the book teaches, but what the book teaches is ugly. This lady is using subversive tactic. She's trying to tell you this is not what Islam teaches, and yet we know it is. So who is more dangerous for Islam? The one who comes openly and says, yes, we believe in child marriage. Yes, we would believe in multiple wife. Yes, we believe in wife beating. Yes, we believe in jihad. If you're an apostate, we will unalive you. Or this lady who tells you these things are not in Islam, but we know from the books it is. Who is actually more dangerous? The enemy you see coming, or the one you think is a friend, but behind their back is the dagger? Which one is more dangerous? When you know someone don't like you, you know how to navigate. But how do you navigate when the person comes to you like a friend, but behind their back, they have a weapon? Isn't that what the Psalm said? If it was an enemy, I could have understood, but my enemy is in my own household. Who was the one who betrayed Jesus? Jesus knew the Pharisees and the scribe and that. They didn't like him. When he saw them come in, he knew what time it was. But who planted the kiss on his cheek? One of the 12. A person who ate and slept with him, knew where he lived, knew where he stayed, knew where he prayed. Somebody that's supposed to be a close disciple is the one that led the enemy and even kissed him on his cheek to betray him. So this lady is a Judas. She's a Judas to the Islam. She's a Judas to us. So just finishing the story about the woman with the issue of blood. She said within herself, if I just touch the hem of his garment, I will get well. But Jesus, turning around and seeing her, said, daughter, take courage. Your faith has made you well. At once the woman was made well. When Jesus came to the official's house and saw the flute players and the crowd of noisy disorder, he said, leave, for the girl is not dead, but is asleep. And they began laughing at him. But when the crowd had been sent out, he entered and took her by the hand, and the girl just got up. That's my Lord. And I think Mark 5 is going to be the same story. Mark 5:25-34. Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction. So faith is the currency of the true and living God. And faith in Hebrews 1 is described as faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your actions, they give you away. Your actions are the evidence of what you believe. This is why they say action speaks louder than words. Anybody can say anything. But the question is, what do your actions say? Abraham was made righteous with God because of his action. Because when God said move, Abraham said, okay, God, wherever you lead, I'll follow. I'm moving. Come out from amongst your people. Where should I go? Just come out. These people are in idolatry, but I've got a plan for you. So you need to separate. Okay, packs his stuff up. He starts going. He said, oh yeah, take Sarah, your wife. You're going to need her. I've got a plan for you. What's the plan? You don't worry about that. Just pack up your stuff, start walking. I'll guide you as we go. And Abraham obeyed God, and it was counted to him for righteousness. So before we had the Abrahamic and the Mosaic law, and don't eat pork and don't do this and sacrifice animal like this and do like that, people were already operating in faith. This video is 2 hours long, but we're not going to watch all of it because we start taking calls in the middle, so they're just
someone else to clean up my mess, because if someone else is cleaning up my mess, what does it say about me? I am the one who is causing the mess. So if she is cleaning up the Dava Bro's mess, that means she pointed people, yeah, what Mohammed Hijab says about the secret marriage, hotel marriage, Ali Dawai's Mecca Muta, all those kind of things. So she's like pointing those things out and then saying, don't worry, it has nothing to do with Islam. And people don't like that. People wouldn't like that. So this is, I think, one of those things that therefore, yeah, by all means, you can go after her. Yeah, it just reminds me that it was that video where she was talking about how Dava Brois made her homeless. This is that lady. Don't clean someone else's house. Even though, like in the video, she talks about how her content is about keeping Muslims in Islam, right? When Muslim says, oh, I have a problem that Islam says I am deficient in mind, she steps in and then she tries to justify that. Oh, probably you misunderstand, right? Very thing Dr. Shabir Ali and Sophia Ali is doing on different platforms, right? So she's doing that on TikTok, and yeah, that didn't go well with the Dava Brois. Therefore, someone thinks it is all right to post a video identifying their sister as Mossad agent.
It's so funny because I actually just saw a video of her saying about how Muslim men are so quick to tell them that women are deficient in intellect, so that they have to learn the Quran from Muslim men so that Muslim men can interpret the Quran for them because they're not smart enough to go and read it for themselves. And I thought that was sad, very sad, but like hilarious, because who was the Muslim man that taught that? Can you remind me who the Muslim man is that taught that? Is it just some rando on the street, or?
And then,
do you know who taught that?
I don't know. It's like $1 million question there, right? Yeah, so I guess now it makes more sense why they are going after her. But it is sad, like, and it is not acceptable at all. The things she's sharing that happened to her. I guess, yeah. Another problem is like we will hear like she's goes and then says again, like I'll point out as well. This has nothing to do with Islam. There are just few bad apples. But no, it's not few bad apples. This is religion itself. You just choose to turn a blind eye to certain parts, reject certain parts, and then take certain parts. That might be the issue, but let's see. See, I've got people in the chat answering that $1 million question. You will get no money at all.
This is who I make content for. And do you know what? Sometimes I feel like a hypocrite, always telling you girls, separate what these people are doing. Don't let them convince you that this is Islam, this is not Islam, this is their version of it. Because it gets to a fucking point. Like, it gets to a fucking point. And you know what really triggered me today? This violating feeling of being so fucking dehumanized. I have been so dehumanized by the Muslim community. They have stripped.
She's been dehumanized by whom?
The Muslim community. Do you have that clip of that one sheikh or imam who is speaking in Arabic about what women really are?
Which one?
The one where he says that Allah made the women look like humans to not scare the men.
I don't know.
Okay.
I might not have it.
Oh, well, there's a clip of a Muslim speaking in Arabic, teaching his congregants about how women are animals, just like cattle, just like other.
Oh yes. I do have that video, but don't know where it is. Yeah, I know which video you are talking about.
But if you want to talk about the Muslim community dehumanizing women, it is very real. It is very broad spread, and it is very rooted within Islam.
Yeah.
Within the Quran, within the Hadith, within the rulers within Islam to this day.
And just to touch on that, the Quran and the Hadith, the book of the Muslims and the sayings and tradition of Muhammad. The Hadith, I believe it says, your women are your tillers. They're like a field. So plow your field as you see fit. So she's just there to be plowed. Another Hadith says the most valuable thing a woman brings to the marriage is her vagina. She's a sex object and a baby making machine. There's no covenant marriage. It's just a sex contract. There's an incident where Muhammad is sitting outside and he loves watching the women pass. He loves ogling them. And he gets so aroused by this woman as she passes that he runs inside. And while his wife is preparing leather, he throws her down on the bed and they start having sex. Then he comes back out and says to his companions, the woman comes in the shape of a devil and leaves in the shape of a devil. So when you see a woman and you become aroused, run home and have sex with your wife. You can Google it. I don't know the passage. I don't know the Hadith. The woman comes in the shape of a devil and leaves in the shape of a devil. So in Islam, a woman is a devil. She's devilish by nature. This is not what the Bible says. The Bible says God made men and women in his image. The woman was created out of the man, and male and female God created them. They're different, but nowhere God is saying the woman is a devil. Even with Adam and Eve, the Bible says, yes, Eve was deceived. And Eve was wrong for taking the fruit and giving it to Adam. But the Bible says through one man sin entered, not one woman. Because it was Adam that was given the commandment not to touch the fruit, not to eat it, not Eve. Adam's job was to manage that situation. So yes, both are responsible. But the whole of women were not demonized simply because of what Eve did. But in Islam, the woman is called shaitan. Why? Because God has given her breast, given her booty, given her nice lips, pretty face. And when a man sees an attractive woman, his body starts jumping. So because in Islam, there's no personal accountability on the man's side, it becomes the woman's responsibility to throw sheet over herself and make herself as invisible as possible so the man is not tempted. And we're not against modesty. Modesty is good and it's right. It's fair. I'm not saying when I was young, especially when I was out in the world, I wasn't wearing short skirt and low cut this and tight that. I did it. But I look back and I regret. That's why I'm ironing today. Because my clothes have enough cloth to iron. Literally ironing. I have a whole heap of dress. All I need is a hijab and I would look like a Muslim because I love my maxi. Throw it on and go. So we're not against modesty. We don't think that dressing appropriately and covering your body up in so that you look, decent and presentable and you're not being a stumbling block. We don't have a problem with that one. But the Islamic way of doing things is very excessive. And it takes away from the personal accountability of the man to manage his lust. Again, Muhammad set a bad example. Although they say lower your gaze, maybe you could say, oh, he gave practical advice. You see a woman and you become aroused, don't stumble and fall into bed with that woman. Go home and have sex with your wife. Or you must learn to manage your lust. You say lower your gaze. Okay, beyond lowering your gaze, clean up your mind as well. Lord Jesus, this one I'm about to go now as well. We're in a predicament now. This one's going to try and go flat on me too. See if we can get a little life in this battery. What else did Muhammad say? I think there's some more things he said. But yeah, Islam is inherently misogynistic. You can take secret wife. See, they're going into it now. Another one, he do muta. Muta is prostitution in Islam. The Shia Muslims still practice it. You can hire a woman to be your wife for minutes, hours, or up to 3 days. So you go to the Muslim woman, you say, how much do you charge to be my muta wife? If you like the price, you take her to bed. And if you enjoy the sex, you give her the full price that you agreed. Because you didn't have to do official marriage, there's no divorce. The contract ends once you've reached your full time. If you want to make another contract, you just agree, okay, can I get another 3 days? Same price. You ask anybody, what's this? They'll tell you prostitution. You ask a Muslim, what's this? They'll say it's marriage. But it's called muta. You can look it up, and it's in the Quran. Muta is in the Quran. It's not in the Hadith. So there's no respect for the woman in Islam. There's no respect. She's just there to be used for the man's pleasure. And this lady is experiencing cognitive dissonance. She wants to believe that it's not Islam, but it is. It is.
We're not just chosen because we can give him something that he wants. But in fact, even though we denied him, he loved us enough to die for us and offer us eternal life with him today, which is essentially that. And certainly for women are not treated like they're made in the image of God. They're treated like
humanity. They have taken my humanity away from me.
That's quite a lot of list, right?
Yep. Have you seen what they've said about her child?
Is it in this video?
It's not in this video. And actually, it looks like that video is quite a bit longer than the version of it I've seen. But I have a post of what she was sent about her child, if you'd like to see that also, because that's very on the point that she's on right now.
Yeah.
But it's just brace yourself.
So this is why I wanted to show this video. Let's look at this very disgusting comment that this person has sent. So brace yourself, because it is rude. It's disgusting.
This is not for children, for whoever that may be relevant to.
She's very young. She looks very young. Can you make it a little bit bigger?
Okay, so first of all, can you explain this first word for everybody so that everybody knows where we're starting on? It's wallahi.
Yeah, before that, someone is like saying, I swear on Allah. So where is this being posted? Is it on where is this message?
This is what I saw. So it's a short clip, 2 something minutes of what
Okay.
she said. I'm not sure how long the version is you have. It does seem to cut off mid-word on that version, and then it also had a screenshot of what was said to her with
No, I don't.
encouragement to pray for her.
Okay, so I'm guessing that's like on TikTok or something. Anyway, so in platform, someone is saying, I swear by Allah, I'm going to rape your child in the most gruesome manner while I will tie. Move your mouse.
Oh, that's not my mouse. It's in the picture.
Tie, I don't know what is that.
It just says you. It's like instead of Y-O-U, they just said a U.
Tie you in a room. You will see me raping the fuck out of her while she's screaming out, Mommy, help me. You're not going to be able to do shit when I shove your cock in your little daughter, when I shove my cock in your little daughter and behead her afterwards.
They're saying this about a Muslim child.
65:4, right? Surah 24. Surah 4:24. Surah 24 itself.
Surah 4:24. Let's see what it says. Surah An-Nisa. Oh, this is the one about. Oh God, this is an actual complete nightmare. Complete nightmare. What up? Can we see? Can we see? Let me make it big. I'm always telling people, make it bigger, so we can read it. So let me not be a hypocrite. And I will make it big. Oh, what did you just do? Oh, it's on the screen, but I can't. Let me read it here. So, also forbidden are married women, except, except. Is this mic on? Except. Does everybody see the word except? We speak the English. We all know what except means. It means everything I just said stands, but there's a condition where it doesn't stand. Who are we talking about? Married women. So the married woman is not safe. Also forbidden, this is a continuation of a list of women that are not permissible or lawful for you to marry. You are not allowed to marry women who are already married except your female captives in your possession. This is Allah's commandment to you. Lawful to you are all beyond this. Take this thing off the screen. Move. As long as you seek them with your wealth in a legal marriage, not in fornication. Give to those you have consummated marriage with their due dowries. It is permissible to be mutually gracious, rewarding regarding the set dowry. So when it says give them their dues, I believe this is the verse that also is interpreted as being about muta. But can we see how perverted Islam is? And why did they say this? Because the Muslims attacked a tribe and took a bunch of women captive. And the Muslim men wanted to have sex with the women. And they said, Is it okay? We know their husbands, and some of them are even alive. And so the verse came down from Muhammad. Yes, it's okay because they are your slaves now. You've captured them. So if you want to have sex with them, it's permissible. Maldudi said, and also forbidden for you are married women except those whom your right hand possess as a result of war. Look at the website, My Islam. So this is not a Christian website. This is a Islamic website. See the Arabic there. Maldudi. This is Allah's decree, and it is binding upon you, but it is lawful for you to seek out all women except these, offering them your wealth and the protection of wedlock rather than using them for the unfettered satisfaction of lust. And in exchange of what you enjoy by marrying them, you pay their bridal due as an obligation. But there is no blame on you if you mutually agree to alter the settlement after it has been made. So what does that mean? You pay the woman for sex, you pay her for her body, and then afterwards, once you've paid her, then you just go your separate ways. Verse 44. Women who come as captives of war, leaving their husband behind in Dar al-Harb, domain of war, are not prohibited, for their marriage is nullified by virtue of their entry into Dar al-Islam. A man may marry such a woman, and if they happen to be of his slave girls, he may have sexual relations with them. There is a disagreement, however, among jurists as to what should be done if both husband and wife have been taken captive together. Abu Hanifa and the jurists of his school are of the opinion that their marriage should remain intact, but the Malik and Shafi school of thought, on the other hand, argue that their matrimonial contract should be rendered void. So even though the man and his wife have been captured together, there are schools of Islamic thought that say even though the woman's husband is alive and present, it's okay for you to still rape her. Many misunderstandings seem to persist about the right to have sexual relations with one's slave girls. Even then, he may not have sex with her unless she's had one period in order to establish that she's not already pregnant. If the woman is considered pregnant, one may not have sexual relations with her until she gives birth. It is not necessary for female captives of war to be people of the book in order that the sexual relation with them may be permitted. The man to whom such a woman is entrusted has the right to have sexual relations with her regardless of her religious affiliation. Only that person whom the female captive has been entrusted to has the right to have sexual relations with her. Any child born to her will be regarded as the legitimate child of her master and will be entitled to all the rights laid down by the law for one's issue. Moreover, one such woman has given birth to a child. She may not be sold to anyone, and on the death of her master she automatically becomes a free person. I mean, it's still taking females as captives. You abduct the child. If a military commander permitted his soldiers to temporarily use the female captives as objects of sexual desire and distributed them among the soldiers for that purpose, such an act would be considered unlawful by Islamic law. Such an act is not essentially different from fornication or adultery. But where does it say that in the Quran? What are we in? Tafsir of 424. Tafsir is commentary. Tafsir is commentary. So Ibn Abbas says, and all married women are forbidden to you except those captives who your right hand possess, which is another word of saying captive slaves. Even if they have husbands and in the abode of war, after ascertaining she's not pregnant by waiting 1 month, it is the decree of Allah for you. That which I have mentioned to you is unlawful in Allah's book. Lawful unto you are beyond all those mentioned as unlawful, so that you seek them with your wealth up to 4 wives. It is also said that this means so that you buy with your wealth captives. It is also said that this means so that you should seek with your money marrying women for an agreed period of time. See it there? Zawaj al-Muta. Zawaj al-Muta. See it there, see it there, see it there. And they say Muta's not in the Quran. Yes. See it. Zawaj al-Muta. Zawaj, the pleasure marriage. So this verse in the Quran 424 is talking about marrying for a period of time, an agreed period of time. And after you give the woman the money for the sex, then you dissolve the marriage. But the lawfulness of this practice was later abrogated. So you see, here it's saying in the Quran, it says you can do muta. Nowhere in the Quran it says we no longer can do muta. Muta was abrogated or abolished by not the next caliph, but the one after, not the next leader after Muhammad died, but the one after that. That's who abrogated muta and said muta is a type of fornication because it's prostitution. Be with them as legitimate husbands, not in debauchery, not indulging in adultery without having a proper marriage, and of those whom after marriage you seek content from whom you derive benefit. Don't take things from them or cheat them. Be a proper husband to them and give them the full bride price as a duty. Who else? Jalalain. What does Jalalain say about this one? The same thing. Forbidden to marry are women who have spouses. This one off. With spouses, that you should marry them before they have left their spouses, be they Muslim free women or not, save what your right hands have captured. Again, so you can't marry a Muslim woman if she's already married unless she leaves her husband. But if you capture a married woman, even if her husband is still alive, You may have sexual intercourse with her, even if they should have spouses among the enemy camp, but only after they have been absolved of their possibility of pregnancy. So after they complete 1 month period, they have a period, then you can assume they're not pregnant. The man who's captured the woman is allowed to sex her. Lawful for you to read passive walila or active wa'ahala. Beyond all that is except what is forbidden, what he has forbidden you of women is that you seek women using your wealth by way of a dowry or a price in wedlock, not fornicating in illicitly. Such wives as you enjoy thereby have had sexual intercourse with you and have had sexual intercourse with, give them their wages. Give them the wages is temporary marriage. It's the muta. That's the muta. You enjoyed the sex, so give them the money you agreed and call that the dowry. See this filthy religion? Ibn Kathir. Forbidden are married, women who are married, except your female slaves. You're not allowed to marry a woman that's already married, except those you acquire through war and you capture them. And the hadith on Surah 424. I don't know if it will give it to me. Hadith number 3, 4. Let's see. Sahih Muslim 3432. Let's see. Sahih Muslim. Let's see. Let's see. See, I can only use one page at a time. When I open more than one page, there's no audio. See it there? So let's read the story that led to Quran verse 424. My friend, move this one. It is permissible to have sexual intercourse with a captive woman after she is purified of menses or delivery. In case she has a husband, her marriage is abrogated after she becomes a captive. This is Muslims. This is what they teach. So this is the story. Abu Sa'd al-Khudri reported that at the Battle of Hunain, Muhammad sent an army to Autus and encountered the enemy and fought with them. Having overcome them and taken them captives, the men and the women, the companions of Muhammad seemed to refrain from having intercourse with the captive women because their husbands being polytheists, and they were still alive, and they were right there. Then Allah sent down regarding, and women already married except those whom your right hand possess, they are lawful for them when their iddah period comes to an end. So this is what Islam teaches, that it's permissible for you to have sex with married women. It's permissible for you to have sex with married women, which is completely contrary to what the Bible teaches. So we just want to keep that in our minds. Islam is completely antithetical to what the previous religions taught. The previous religions taught the sanctity of marriage and holiness. Islam teaches that you can take these women as slaves. Let's just get through the rest of this, but you get the point. But let's see what these people, they said. What did they say about the little girl?
What kind of...
Imagine a grown man made this comment. This filthy, disgusting comment. And if you see the little girl is about 4 years old. There's videos of this lady walking with the daughter, feeding the ducks. And what do they say? They're going to tie Aya up. Tie up the little girl and rape her in front of the mother. And because the mother is tied, she can't save the daughter. Imagine how sick and perverted you have to be to even concoct such a statement and then to feel good enough to type such a thing. This is Islam. It's a religion that turns human beings into animals.
Ideology is out there. Think they have... What kind of ideology out there? It's powerful enough to destroy mind of a man in a way he thinks this is absolutely fine thing to do a child. And all this is for what? She's cleaning the mess Dava Broys are doing. And Dava Broys are kind of... People don't like being criticized. People don't like taking any feedback. So when you give feedback to someone, when you comment on someone, this is the result of it. But this is something we would expect to be done to non-Muslims, right? In here, this is to little kid.
So
I'm
when
gonna-
she says, oh, go on.
No, I was going to reread it to make sure everyone understands, everyone reads it.
Go on.
I'm just thinking when Muhammad was doing this kind of things to a child called Aisha, was Aisha screaming, "Mommy, help me"? I'm just curious. People represent whom they worship, right? This is the root in that ideology. It's like knocking yourself into bathroom and having very, very bad thoughts is one level, but feeling comfortable enough to publish these bad thoughts as well as share and send it to someone is another level. And it is, the reality is, sadly, this is what Islam produces. A child. You are gonna tie a child in a bed, and then fuck out of her while child is screaming. And you get pleasure from that. What do you get from that? Seriously, what do you get from that, Mr. Muslim?
The way to
Oh, it helps you to remember what Muhammad did to Aisha. You want to relive that, right? Idiot. Now I feel much sorry for this lady. I'm not gonna say much nasty things about her now.
She needs Jesus. She needs prayers. But when she says that she has been going through some stuff because of Muslim men, she has been going through some stuff because of Muslim men. Like, this is sick. And men have been accessing her house where she and her daughter were, or at least they did access her house where she and her daughter were at some point. I don't know what the situation was, if they were there when they broke in, if they weren't there when they broke in. I don't remember the details, and I don't know how many details I knew to begin with. But it's one thing if you say something and, oh, it's just an internet threat, which, by the way, this is sick and perverted and evil, even if it's just an internet threat. This is disgusting. But then to also have people actually acting on how they feel about her, actually breaking into her house, it really shows you what Islam is. And she is being shown what Islam is. And she actually is questioning, saying it comes to a point. After all she's gone, this isn't Islam, this isn't Islam, this isn't Islam. It comes to a point. And she's recognizing that it's really, if it's not at that point, it's almost at that point where it's like, how do you keep saying this isn't Islam? Because it's being seen for its real fruit. And it's not just a bad apple on a good tree. The whole tree is rotten. And it's diseased, and it's infecting the trees around it.
We'll just listen to a little bit more, and then we'll just
Things to me.
because you get.
They have slandered me. They have bullied me. They have doxed me. They have broken into my fucking home. They have made me feel unsafe. They have told me to unalive myself. They have prayed and prayed that I get unalived, that I get great, that my child gets harmed, that my child gets taken off me. They have mocked me. They have made AI corn of me. They have done the most disgusting, horrendous things, and they feel so fucking justified because they have
made AI pornographic images because she's on TikTok, and I think even on YouTube, that, you know, they're very sensitive about certain words. But she's saying Muslims have taken her image and used AI to make porn depicting her. That's how evil these people are. And these are not non-Muslims. These are not Christians. I mean, I'm not saying they couldn't be Christians, they could be. But we know Muslims have made hit pieces on this woman. These guys who say they do dawah to spread Islam, they have made videos about this woman. So even if we say some of these anonymous freaks are actually Christians or non-Muslims or atheists masquerading as Muslims, we don't know. But we do know Muslims have done this.
have stripped me of my humanity. They have taken my humanity away from me.
One thing on the corn side of thing, yeah, isn't Islam supposed to be the religion that, like, you know, erases all degeneracy? Because clearly we saw a lot of degeneracy in that that message that was sent to her. But they're making, when she says corn, she's using the TikTok word for porn. They're making sexually explicit material of her with AI. Is that erasing degeneracy?
Because I'm pretty sure Jesus said, when you look at a woman with lust, you've already committed adultery with her in your heart. And they are purposely creating content to feed into that. Against her will.
This is what Islam offers the world. This is what Islam offers their own. And where do they get that power? The book and the man. The book and the man. It is disturbing, right? Like, I am making a video about her and I am critics of Islam. I really hate Islam. Now I double hate Islam for that message they intentionally send it to her for her little daughter. How come Muslims didn't put up? How come Muslims didn't put up? Like, okay, so someone went to the house of my sister. Oh, we know whose dawa guns they were. Police, how we can help you?
All in the name of religion. And it really gets to a fucking point.
So you get to see, right? She knows what they are doing is, according to them, justified in the teachings of Islam. So that's the part I'm angry, right? You know, this is the fruit of your religion. The very religion you are kind of saying, oh, I am keeping people in Islam. This is the fruit of that religion. And you stated this is going on actively since September. And you are still Muslim. And you are still stating, oh, this is not Islam, this is not Islam. But they are doing this in the name of Islam. One of the most misunderstood ideology out there.
Because yeah, I'm sat here feeling so fucking violated and dehumanized. And I'm like, do I really have to accept this? Because I share my beliefs that go against mainstream Islam. Because I share my experiences of how I have been traumatized and harmed by Sunnism. Because I debunk these misogynistic systems that push women away from Islam, and I tell women not to confuse the misogyny with Islam. Because I tell women that Islam is not misogynistic, to not let these people, these misogynistic shaykh and dawbers push you away from Allah. Because I try to share my experience of how I held onto Islam with other women, helping them to hold on to their Islam. They feel justified in all of this. And wallahi, this is not about what they say about me. They've been calling me this shit for months.
This part is sad, right? From sheikhs to dawa guys, it is all messed up. It must be in very hopeless situation when you are trying to justify unjustifiable, right? Trying to make sense of the things which goes against your values, which goes against your logic, which goes against your dignity. You are trying to sell that out. So there is one Islam, and then you've got many different versions of Muslims, right? Yeah, you've got someone like this, Miss Muslim, who thinks she can simply figure the ways to make a certain part of the Islamic tradition acceptable, right? The very parts where we are told by some of the scholars, we need to simply skip that part. We cannot do that part in Europe. Or very parts that causing people to walk out of Islam. She comes to terms with herself and then says, okay, those are the parts I'm going to make peace with me. This is the way I'm justifying these kind of things. Simply, I don't know what is her views. It could be like simply, they're not reliable hadiths. We move on from that. And then when she says these dawa bros, these scholars are practicing very thing, or when it comes to the public, that they're doing very thing that she's trying to say, no, whole Muslim world is opening to that idea, right? So what she's going to do, she needs to figure out the ways to hold on to that thing. Otherwise for her, there is nothing out there. In reality, there is someone out there, he's much worthy and he loves her so deeply, right? But when you are stuck in your circle and when you are trying to think, I am Muslim, I don't need to look anything else, and you are intentionally ignoring what is out there, this becomes the result of it.
So I'm gonna stop the video here. We get the gist. I've just implanted the video in the link for this video in the comments, and I'll put it in the description box. and you can go back and watch the rest. We played it at the beginning, and then you can go and also listen to these ladies, follow them, Hatun and El, follow their commentary on this situation. And that's basically the crux of the matter. Muslims are in a permanent state of cognitive dissonance. On the one hand, they are following, they want to believe Islam is good and true and right, but then at the same time, they are, their own conscience tells them Islam cannot be the truth, Islam cannot be the right thing, because it goes against basic morality and nature. But as I said, this lady is a Trojan horse. She comes with her pretty face and her crocodile tears. And you look at her like a victim, but she's not a victim in the sense of just a victim. She's also a volunteer. She is trying to perpetuate the cycle. She is trying to keep people in this ideology which is destructive, which is wicked, which is harmful, which is false. Islam is pre-Islamic Arabian paganism. It's nothing more than Sabianism. I just found out I'm going to do a short video, maybe a pre-record, about a man that I discovered called Mani. He was active about in the 3rd century, and he formulated almost like a hybrid religion called Manichaeism. And when you see the parallels between Manichaeism and Islam, you can see Muhammad was trying to be the new Mani. Muhammad was trying to be the new Mani. The way Mani talked about himself, the way he said he's the continuation of the prophets, but he's greater than the previous prophets, the way he kind of had an amalgamation of all these religious beliefs, Gnosticism, Hinduism, and he was very prevalent in that region from Asia, China, up to the Middle East. Muhammad could have been studying under Mani for a year or two, and this is where he got the idea how to run a religion, because the parallels are too many. The Gnostic element, the Judeo-Christian element, it's all Manichaeism, because that region was a melting pot full of different types of idolatry. So Islam, the Quran, is plagiarized from Jewish oral traditions. The Midrash, the Mishnah, the Talmud. This is where the Judeo-Christian bent comes into the Quran. It's because Muhammad was associating with Jews that were living in the region because they'd been exiled from Israel. So Islam is false, but Jesus is true. Jesus is loving, Jesus is Lord, Jesus is the way, the truth, the life, and there's no way to the Father except through him. So beware of false prophets, beware of Trojan horses, because they're everywhere. And in these last days, the deception is going to increase. So I just want to thank everybody that came through. You know, I know that I don't want to make promises about when I'm going to go live, because I know myself, when it comes to the crunch, I probably won't be able to make it. So I don't want to promise anybody, but I really appreciate everybody who came through. Give the video a like, a dislike, a share, a follow. Check out the original videos without the commentary and the breaks. And have a good weekend. Take care and stay blessed.